You are talking about the Cowboys and the Bears. So go for it. Which one of these teams do you have confidence in?
Brother, as far as I'm concerned, I'm ready to talk every single game on the board. Which team do I have confidence in? I'm going to tell everybody right now. There is a very reasonable chance that the pick I'm about to give out is a client play. And not only is it a reasonable chance that it's a client play, but it is an ATS bet. And my ATS bets are 62% in the last 3+ years of NFL betting. Think about that, Andy Lang. 62%. I am 2-0 this year. I've only had 2. This entire year, I won them both. So with all that said, I love the Dallas Cowboys here, and I love them a lot. And there's a lot of money coming in on the Cowboys right now. I mean, it was Dallas plus 1.5 at some books last night. It is now Dallas minus 1 pick 'em. 77% of the money coming in on the Cowboys right now. 88%, no, just moved, 92% on the over, which is now up to 50. If you guys watched our live show with the 20,000 other people who tuned in, we told you guys to bet the Dallas Cowboys over with the Chicago Bears. It was at 46.5. We told you it was up. We told you it would be the best number. We told you it would be the last time you'll get a shot at 47 as a winner. And another reason why to tune in. So why do I like Dallas here, Andy? Firstly, this is a play both on Dallas and against Chicago. Let's start with why Dallas. Dallas went into Philadelphia, played an outstanding game, could have got out of there with a W. So we know that they're better than people expected, and we know they could play on the road. Then they played the New York Giants. Now, they laid an egg in that game, or did they? That's an interesting game to look at because for me, what I'm looking at, one of my number one criterias in sports handicapping is the emotional makeup of teams. This Dallas team showed unbelievable moxie. Now, I get it. They should not have been down to the New York Giants. I get it. They should not have needed overtime. They should not have needed a miracle at the end of the game. I understand all of that, but they did, and they rose to the occasion. They realized they shook off their shitness, and they marched down the field. They got the W. They've got to be coming into this game feeling really good about themselves. They see that the Washington Commanders are not the team we expected. They see that there is a route to the playoffs. They're coming into playing a Chicago team. One thing we know about Dallas is they can score, and they're going to score against everybody. There is no defense out there that is going to keep this Dallas Cowboy offense from scoring. Dallas is putting up 20-something, 20+, maybe 30 points on Chicago. Is Chicago going to be able to keep up? Well, they could if they could script every single play, but they can't. Caleb Williams, the best scripted quarterback on the planet. Every time we start the game, he marches down the field. It looks stunning. Then all the script goes out the window and he is non-functional. That offense is a disaster. I think it'll turn around under Ben Johnson, but not yet. This team simply will not be able to keep up with the Cowboys. As far as the Chicago defense goes, horrible, absolutely horrible. 51 points they allowed on Detroit, and that game got away from them. It wasn't like that game was a blowout right at the beginning. And on top of that, the Chicago defense has to be sitting there saying, why are we trying so hard? Our offense sucks. We stink. Chicago has to be coming into this game feeling down on themselves. They were excited about the season. It's all gone to hell, and it's gone to hell fast. Dallas has to be coming into this game feeling good about themselves. It's a pick-em game. I understand Dallas doesn't play great on grass out east. Who cares? The Bears suck, just like their pizza. Take the boys -1. Eddie, can I promote? I got to promote.
Of course.
I got a $5 play. Guys, I'm begging you. I'm pleading with you. I am insisting, imploring, encouraging. I am requiring all of you guys to go over to WagerTalk.com and buy my $5 play. My $5 play is a college football total. I am perfect in college football totals this season. 6-0. Now I get it. It's a short sample size. I'm 65% in college football totals since the beginning of last season. Is that a big enough percent for you guys? Is that a long enough period of time? 65% in college football totals, 6-0 this year. It's a 4% play. I am 66% in 4% plays this entire calendar year. I mean, it's all aligned, Andy. It has all come together. And it's only $5. It's today. Head over to WagerTalk. Please join me. Nothing makes me happier than when we all win together. Best betting show ever. And it's
best betting show ever. Sorry.
And that's important because we talk about everything, brother. I gave out bets on Bitcoin last week. I gave out a stock tip that's done sensational. I gave out, we do a Kelce segment. We're going to do one today on the show. I haven't taped it yet. I had a doctor's appointment. I have a cyst in my eye. But anyway, that's a whole different story. The show's phenomenal, Andy, and it fits so perfectly with what you're doing on Wager Talk today because you're bringing out guests on every day to talk about their thoughts and opinions. We have a no guest policy. It's myself, Joe Ranieri, and Art DeCesar. We spend the first half of the show going through where all the sports books, where all the money is going and what the Westgate needs. Today's show, we will find out exactly what the bets coming into the Westgate are in college football and NFL. We're also going to do a deep dive into all the 0-2 teams, Andy. Curious, will KC be an 0-3 team? Check out the show to find that one out. And in the Kelce segment, we're going to take a deep dive into the AFC West, who's going to win that division, and is there some potential money opportunities? So that's a great show. I love doing it, but I miss working with you and Ross and Merrill and Brian Power and Eddie, and of course Dan Alexander on a daily basis. Are you kidding me? That guy's just awesome.
Dallas travels to Chicago to take on the Bears. I'll give you some stats, give you opinion on the side, the total. And, of course, it's me. We're going to go over some player props. Welcome, everyone. I'm Andy from Wager Talk. I'm going to tell you why I like Dallas in this game here. Let's start with some of the stats on these two teams. It's only been 2 games, but some of the defensive numbers are quite startling. We'll start with some passing stats. The Bears have given up the most passing touchdowns this season. The Cowboys are second worst in allowing completion percentage. So when teams are scoring on Chicago, it's through the air. When teams throw on Dallas, they're completing a lot of passes. The Bears are 5th worst in yards per rush allowed. So when teams are running on the Bears, they're getting big chunks of yards. And the Cowboys are tied for the most rushing TDs allowed. So when they get in close, teams are able to score against Dallas on the ground. And overall, these teams are 30th and 28th in yards allowed. So I don't think that's breaking news that these two teams struggle on defense, but some of the numbers are pretty bad. Offense, the Bears are middle of the road in passing yards per attempt. Cowboys, a little bit of the same. Caleb Williams, last year, his QBR rating was 14 points higher at home and on the road. He had fewer interceptions, fewer sacks, higher completion percentage, higher average per completion. He was much better at home. The stats bared that out. As far as running game, both teams are pretty good in yards per carry, 4.8 for the Bears and 5.1 for the Cowboys. I know the Dallas having a pretty good running game may have been a little bit of surprise as Javonte Williams was their feature number 1. And also Dallas 3rd in plays per game and Chicago 12th. Now, Dallas being 3rd in plays per game includes that overtime, but still, take out that overtime. These are teams that are in the top 12 in plays per game. By the way, congratulations if you knew that. Cleveland has the most plays per game in the NFL this season. Pretty interesting stuff there. All right, here's why I like Dallas. You go back and you look at Dak Prescott when he starts on the road, and a little bit of a front runner here. When they play great teams and good teams on the road, they lose or the games are real close. When they play teams that struggle, they really have a lot of success. Now, he didn't play all of last year, but he starts off the season with big win at Cleveland. We know about them. Beats the Giants at New York. Beats Pittsburgh on the road. But then they go to San Francisco in Prescott's next start after the bye week, and they lose by 6 on the road, San Francisco, and then he gets hurt. But we go back to 2023, and it's more of the same. Huge win at the Giants, who are bad. Big win by 8 points at Arizona. They go to San Francisco. They lose. They lose on the road to Philly. They win big at Carolina. They lose big at Buffalo. They win in Miami. So if you think the team that they're playing is not good, Dak tends to have quite a bit of success. And there's something not right with the Chicago Bears team, and I'm focusing on the defense. Caleb Williams, his issues have been gone over ad nauseum. I don't need to go over those. But this Bears defense, thought it was going to be a lot better than it's been through a couple years. Maybe there's low morale. Maybe there's just not a lot of excitement when they're seeing the offense kind of trip and stumble. But there's something about the Bears defense that is not clicking. And we know the Dallas defense isn't good, but I think this Dallas offense is going to be able to go in there and score some points and put this Chicago Bears offense on their heels. I'm going to lean for Dallas to go on the road and get the win. I know they didn't look very good against the Giants, but I think that win gives them a little bit of boost. I will lean for Dallas to go on the road and get the win. As far as the total, we're at 50.5. It's a huge number. It's warranted. I'm not going to tell you to take the under. I'm not going to play it. I would lean Dallas over their team total, but I'm not going to be playing any of the totals in this game because the books are ahead of this one. You're going to have to pay a pretty penny to get the overs in this game. As far as props go, Caleb Williams to not throw an interception. This is a rinse and repeat. This play is 13-5 in his career. He had an interception last week. We're coming right back to it. I'm also playing Dak to not throw an interception. The Bears only one interception to 2 games. That was with J.J. McCarthy. They only had 11 total last year. And these teams, their defenses allow such a high completion percentage that I just don't think there's going to be a lot of errant passes, and there's going to be a lot of wide open receivers. So both quarterbacks to not throw an interception. Rome Odunze has clearly separated himself as the number one. Caleb Williams has 3 touchdown passes, all of them to Odunze. He's plus 155 as a touchdown score. If you think there's going to be a lot of points and you think Caleb Williams is going to throw a touchdown, stats are telling you that it's going to Rome Odunze. I like DeAndre Swift over 14.5 rush attempts. He only had 12 last week against the Lions, but they were getting absolutely steamrolled. Week 1 in a close game against Minnesota, he had 17. So I think this game is going to be close. I do not think the Bears get away from their run game. If anything, they may want to try and get DeAndre Swift going early because of the Cowboys tied for the most rushing touchdowns allowed. Bears 5th worst in yards per rush allowed. So if you're Chicago, try and keep your defense off the field and try and get DeAndre Swift going. So there's some props. Lean for Dallas to go on the road and get the win. Our NFL props pack is up. It is live. It gets you every single play that we're going to have Sunday and Monday. I couldn't be happier with our hit rate. We're hitting 58% on our NFL plays in this season. That's the perfect percentage to be at. It's profitable and it's sustainable. We always talk about, obviously, you don't want to have a losing percentage. But I don't want to be at 75% winners after week 2 because we know what's coming, regression. So we can keep up this over the long haul. We're going to be in really, really good shape. Really happy with the reads. And these are plays that we bet with our own money. This is what I've used to build up a bankroll. You guys have heard me talk about this. When we put out a play, we bet it. This is our bankroll that we turned $10,000 into $65,000. We're on our road to millions with this. So props, I believe, is where it's at. This is where we do most of our damage. We're well over 30 units this year just in props across different sports. College football best bet. This is another big part of our portfolio, our college football team totals. Long term, we've hit 64% of these at WagerTalk. It was over several years, so this is not a small sample size. We're coming off of a loss last week. We had Oregon to get over 37.5. They somehow landed on 34 with multiple chances to get over. I do not know how we lost that one, but it happens. That one is locked and loaded. So we have our college football best bet that is up. We have our NFL prop pack that is up. If you'd like everything, WagerTalk is running a special, the Weekend Warrior. It's $49, and it gets you every football play that we're going to have. Spreads, props, parlays, anything that we have for college, NFL, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday is included in that. Would highly encourage you to partner up with us and invest in football this weekend. Let's make it a profitable one. You can get there by going to wt.buzz/AL, and if you could, please hit the like button. Leave me a comment below. Tell me what you like in this game. I always love reading the comments and seeing what you guys up. Don't forget to hit the like button, and don't forget to check out Wager Talk today, every day, Monday through Friday, noon Eastern, and Fridays is a huge episode. We do football Fridays. It's a huge breakdown of all NFL, college spreads with the Steam Report. We go over individual games. We go over Survivor. We go over our Westgate contest picks. So great show. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Good luck on your plays this weekend. Take care.
Welcome back, everybody, to WagerTalk TV. I'm WagerTalk.com's Ross the Boss Benjamin. And I got two NFL free pick winners for you today, and they come in games between the Cincinnati Bengals and the Minnesota Vikings and the Houston Texans and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Who will prevail in a battle of backup quarterbacks in the Vikings and Bengals game? Sort of an oddity to see two backup quarterbacks going at it in week 3 already, but that's the case. So who's going to come out on top there? And also, is Houston going to be able to avoid an 0-3 start to the season? Is Jacksonville going to be able to recover from a gut-wrenching loss at Pittsburgh last week that dropped their season record to 1-1? I have those answers and much more. Before I get to that real quickly, folks, if you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, WagerTalk TV, take a second to do so and hit that subscribe button in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. And while you're at it, click on the alert notification bell for WagerTalk TV, and you'll be notified immediately upon any of our great content going up on our great channel. Be kind enough to give my video a like here, folks, as I put my best foot forward each and every day to try to bring you a quality free pick video, free pick winners, and quality video, I should say, each and every day. And I hope you would appreciate that. And if you do, hit that like button. If you don't, I appreciate your viewing. Anyway, let us know who you like in the week 3 NFL card on Sunday. Simply by putting your picks in the comments section, folks. And you guys have been doing a great job of this in terms of putting picks up. And if you disagree with me and if you disagree with your fellow viewers, you haven't been argumentative. And a lot of you disagree with my pick on the Miami and Buffalo game. I like the over in that game. And you were wrong, but that's okay. That's why I do it for a living and you don't. But on occasion, that's not going to be the case. And it's okay because none of you were disrespectful in how you presented that. So my point being is, let's keep it a positive community. Because we have different opinions, it's sports betting. That's going to happen. Doesn't mean we have to go to war. It should prompt healthy conversations. So in any event, let's get to the meat and potatoes. Let's start with the Bengals and the Vikings. The Vikings right now a 3-point favorite, and the total is 42. I mentioned the two backup quarterbacks that will be going at it in this one. It'll be Jake Browning for the Cincinnati Bengals. It'll be veteran Carson Wentz for the Minnesota Vikings. The Bengals are off to a 2-0 start, but very deceiving. I guess on a positive note for Cincinnati fans, it beats the starts they've been getting off to in recent seasons. But, on the other hand, they were very lucky to come away with wins in both games. I mean, they were outgained badly in both games by a margin of 143 yards per contest, to be exact. And, they beat the Cleveland Browns because the Cleveland Browns field goal kicker missed a chip shot field goal at the end of regulation time that would have won that game. And then last week, they needed a touchdown with just 13 seconds left to play to beat the Jacksonville Jaguars. But give them credit because last week Jake Browning came in when Joe Burrow went down. By the way, Burrow's going to be out for an estimated 3 months with a toe injury. And he did a great job. He passed for over 240 yards. Didn't get off to a great start, but in the second half, he was lights out. Here's the thing, though. The Vikings defense, which is pretty damn good, is going to have a full week to prepare for Jake Browning, specifically for him, where the Jaguars were at a little bit of a disadvantage because they prepared for Joe Burrow, and then they were thrown a curveball, and they should have came up big against a backup quarterback, but that wasn't the case. In any event, it's always an advantage for a defense to prepare for a backup quarterback for an entire week as opposed to a backup quarterback coming in off the bench and you just throws you all out of whack in terms of what your defensive game plan is. Minnesota, by the way, coming off a disappointing 22-6 home loss to Atlanta. Speaking of losing starting quarterbacks, J.J. McCarthy has been ruled out of this game with an injury, and quite frankly, folks, he hasn't performed well at all. I mean, he's young, right? Last year he was a rookie. He got hurt in the preseason, was going to be their starting quarterback, and Sam Darnold ended up doing a terrific job in leading the Vikings to a playoff berth. But having said that, McCarthy in his first two games here, basically a rookie quarterback, technically in his second year, 58% completion rate, 2 touchdowns against 3 interceptions. He's been less than impressive. Basically, folks, McCarthy's played one good quarter of football through the first 2 games, and that was the fourth quarter against the Chicago Bears. And veteran Carson Wentz takes over. Normally, I would say there's a huge drop-off in the NFL when you go from your starter to your backup. I don't think that's going to be the case here. Carson Wentz, look, he's been a huge disappointment, former number 1 draft choice of the Philadelphia Eagles. He's had several opportunities to light the lamp in terms of showing people what he could do, and he's failed on occasion, but he's still not a terrible quarterback by any stretch of the imagination. And I think a conservative game plan you'll see from the Vikings in this one, and their defense should fare very well against the Cincinnati backup Jake Browning's. Minnesota's defense, first 2 games, just 321.5 yards per game allowed, and they also amassed 5 sacks in those 2 games, and that's going to be key against Cincinnati because their offensive line is still not their strength, and you could get pressure on the quarterback when you play the Cincinnati Bengals. I like the Vikings here. I know I'm going to be in the minority here, and I know that the Bengals are going to see a lot of money, but I'm going with the Minnesota Vikings here, late of the 3 over the Cincinnati Bengals. Before I get to my next game, which is Houston at Jacksonville, folks, just a friendly reminder, went 8-4 with my football picks last week, and we still are running that great special, $49 Weekend Warrior special. And we ran it last week. We're running it this week, and I don't know how much further we're going to go with that, but I can guarantee it won't be long. So take advantage of this offer. It's going to get you all my Saturday college football selections, all my Sunday NFL, and my Monday night NFL pick. So a huge package. If you consider the fact my $35 5% best bet on Saturday in college football, I mean, that's $14 more to get the entire weekend with all my college football and all my NFL. Great deal, folks. And by the way, college football coming off a 4-0 sweep last week, and 10-5 on the year, and I continue to run hot in college football since the start of the 2023 season. Number 1 in units earned. Last year, number 1 in win percentage and units earned. And like I said, this year off to a 10-5 start and up 18 units as well. So great special. Take advantage of that Weekend Warrior special, $49. Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, all football plays that I put out. And you can get that by going to my personal link at WagerTalk.com, which is wt.buzz/RB. All right, so Houston at Jacksonville. The Jaguars, a 1.5-point home favorite. The total is 43.5. I don't know. Houston just doesn't look good to me right now. Obviously, they're 0-2, but it's not the 0-2. It's they're listless offensively. They've allowed a lot of rushing yards last week against Tampa Bay, specifically speaking. The Bucs ran for 169 yards against the Houston defense last week, and that shapes up as problematic because they'll be facing a Jacksonville offense that has rushed for an average of just shy of 170 yards per game in the first 2 contests. So again, I think Jacksonville's going to be able to run the ball very successfully. I think that's going to open up a lot of opportunities for play action passes for Trevor Lawrence and also the Houston offense hasn't helped out much. Their first two games, they had 265 yards against the Rams and 266 yards in last week's gut-wrenching 20-19 loss against Tampa Bay. I say that because Tampa Bay pulled that game out in the final minute. Baker Mayfield working his magic and stole victory away from Houston. And it's how a team responds to a gut-wrenching loss like that. And they're going on the road in a divisional matchup against a team off a loss as well, in a gut-wrenching loss themselves, because the Jacksonville Jaguars had that game pretty well in hand up until the last minute. They were winning 27-24 with 3 minutes to go last week at Pittsburgh, and they opted to go for it on 4th and goal from the 5-yard line. They don't make it. Cincinnati gets the ball back with a backup quarterback and marches down the field 95 yards for a touchdown with just 13 seconds left to play. However, I like more of what I've seen from Jacksonville than I have from Houston. I mean, Jacksonville in their first two games, averaging 26.5 points per game scored, 389 yards of total offense per contest, and their defense is just allowing a little over 300 yards per game in those first two games. So I like Jacksonville here, but rather than lay the 1.5, I'm opting to go on the money line. A lot of you who've been following me know that's the route I like to take. If I can get 140 or less, 145 or less in that area for a favorite of -2.5 or less, when I do like the favorite, I usually opt for the money line, and that's going to be the case here. I'm going to take the Jacksonville Jaguars -125 over the Houston Texans. Again, Minnesota Vikings -3 against the Cincinnati Bengals. Jacksonville Jaguars -125 over the Houston Texans. Don't forget to check out my X page. You'll see the handle right in the bottom left-hand corner of your page there, at Ross Benjamin, at Ross Benjamin1, at Ross Benjamin1. And you'll get either my Major League Baseball, NFL, or college football trend of the day each and every day, 7 days a week. $49 Weekend Warrior Special, folks. Everything in football on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday from yours truly for just $49. Take advantage of that offer. Until the next time, for Wager Talk TV and Ross the Boss Benjamin, take care and God bless, folks.
I want to talk about misleading final scores. We talk about the Packers and the Browns in NFL action for Week 3 on Sunday. Teddy covers from WagerTalk.com with a big game breakdown for the Browns and the Packers. And of course, right now, looking at the Odds Logic live odds screen, I'm seeing Green Bay -7.5, the prevailing number. There are some 8s out there on the highway. Total sitting 41.5 for the Packers, Browns, Week 3. I'm going to call it a showdown. It's not a showdown. For Green Bay, it's not a showdown. They got bigger games behind them and bigger games in front of them. But I want to start with the concept of a misleading final score. All right. Last week, Cleveland lost to Baltimore. They gave up 41 points. It was 41-17 was the final score. The Ravens had 14 first downs in that game. Cleveland out-yarded Baltimore 323 to 242, so a 90-plus or an 80-plus yardage. Yards per play basically even, 4.5 to 4.6. The Browns' defense shut down the Ravens, 242 yards, 4.2 yards per play. Derrick Henry, 23 yards on 11 attempts. They didn't even try to run the football. That Cleveland defense is good, but somehow Baltimore ended up with 41 points, in part because the Browns' offense is bad, and in part because there's some weird things that happened in the ball. There was a blocked punt, there was a fumble recovery, there was an interception, and all of them led directly to Ravens touchdowns. They got 21 very cheap points. But final score says 41-17. Final score says Cleveland's defense isn't any good. And remember what Cleveland's defense did in Week 1 when Cincinnati was held to 7 yards in the second half. What did the Browns do? They found a way to lose. Thanks, kicker. Kicker missed an extra point and then a short field goal, either of which, one of which would send the game to overtime, one of which would have given them the win. But nonetheless, they found a way to lose, to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. The Browns have been very good at that over the years, and I've been in Vegas since 1998. I can't think of many Browns teams that weren't good at that. A handful, but not many. Kevin Stefanski's team has been good at that. And of course, we don't want to overreact to a box score that doesn't correlate to the final score at all. But we have 2 weeks in a row where Cleveland's defense says, bet on us, bet on us, bet on us. As long as the offense isn't completely inept, there's some value with Cleveland right now. Before I talk about the Green Bay side of the equation, because again, I've got the Packers power rated amongst the elites of the NFL. I think they're every bit as good as anybody else in this league, including Baltimore, including Buffalo, including Philly or Kansas City, whoever you want at the top. My numbers have the Packers at or near the same power rating as those, quote, elite teams. First, I got to let you know what's going on right now at WagerTalk.com. WT.buzz/TC, that's my homepage. $49 Weekend Warrior package available. It's a really good deal. Don't buy a play, get aboard with the package. And I get it. Some of you guys are not pick buyers. That's okay. I'm not mad at you. But if you're interested, if you've never bought picks before, this is a great opportunity to get on board. Full weekend, Saturday, Sunday, anything we release on Monday, college football, NFL, all 4% included, all 5% included. Nothing more to buy, no bait and switch nonsense. It's $49. $49 for this Weekend Warrior package. Check it out on my page, wt.buzz/TC. Check it out on anyone's page at WagerTalk.com. Also want to ask you guys one simple favor. If you like these type of videos, hit that like button. Thank you. Problem solved. Makes all the difference in the YouTube algorithms. We appreciate all the likes we can get. Comment below. Tell us what you think about this game or any of the games on the schedule for this weekend. And of course, if you haven't done so already, well over 200,000 of you have subscribed to the Wager Talk YouTube channel. Become one of us and get instant alerts every time these videos go live. We put out, the reason we have so many subscribers is because we put out good content every day. And again, if you haven't subscribed already, do it now. Wager Talk TV on YouTube. The Packers have looked really elite. Absolutely elite the first couple of weeks of the season. You know, Jeff Hafley's defense has been dominate. The Lions, the Commanders, shutting those good offenses down. And now they're facing Joe Flacco and company. Feels like a mismatch. Yeah, but it's also a laying more than a touchdown on the road against an 0-2 team type of spot. In a non-divisional affair, they have a Sunday night showdown against Dallas next week. And again, not that Dallas is certainly a more marquee opponent than Cleveland. But more than that, this type of week for the Packers, extra time to prepare, a little bit of time off after the Thursday night game. This is a survive and advance kind of week for Green Bay. It's not a let's put the pedal to the metal. It just feels that way for the Packers. They have a handful of injuries, particularly on the offensive line, which is a concern. The wide receiver core with the Jaden Reed injury is a problem. And it doesn't feel like Cleveland is the type of team you're going to be able to blow out very often. We saw it last week based on some randomness. And look, if Flacco's throwing picks, this play ain't going to win. But I don't know if Flacco's throwing picks in bunches this week. And I certainly believe in this Browns defense. And I don't like this spot for Green Bay. And I'm looking to back 0-2 teams on the highway in early season play. Put it all together. I'm looking to back 0-2 teams at home as home dogs in early season play. And we put it all together. It's real simple here. Browns or pass for this better. Bet on the 0-2 home dog and expect some point spread success, even if it's not straight up success for Cleveland. So Cleveland plus the points. Only way to look in this one on Sunday in the NFL. Thank you so much for watching Wager Talk TV. Again, appreciate those likes, comments, and follows very, very much. Visit the homepage, wt.buzz/TC, and best of luck with all your bets in NFL, college football, and everything else you're involved with this weekend. Cheers. 2-0 versus 0-2 in the AFC South. How do we deal with these situations? Week 3. Week 3 is very unique in the NFL. Let's talk about it. Teddy covers WagerTalk.com with a big game breakdown for Tennessee and Indianapolis. Right now, looking at the Odds Logic live odds screen, I'm seeing the Titans 4/4.5 point home dogs against the Colts. The money has come for Indy. Total sitting 43.5 for this matchup. And certainly, we look at Indy's first 2 games of the season, even though they were lucky last week to beat Denver, they weren't lucky last week to beat Denver because the offense moved the football up and down the field. They settled for field goals. There was some red zone inefficiency for Indy in that ball game that let the game be as close as it was. But for the second straight week, Colts didn't punt. They went for it on 4th down a couple times, but they didn't punt. And that tells us when a team doesn't punt the first 2 weeks of the season, that something is going right offensively for Indy right now. Now, they have been playing in the home dome, and now they're on the road in Nashville. Certainly a different scenario for the Colts. And obviously, Daniel Jones, someone who's looked really good playing. Danny Dimes has been, he's been great playing in Indy. Will that translate on grass against a different opponent? And that's very much a question right here. But that said, the Colts' strength has been in the trenches. Their defensive line has been pretty good. Their offensive line has been great. And the running game has been there for Indy consistently. And obviously, it's not like Tennessee is a team that has been dominant on the defensive side of the football. All that being said, there's a legit case we can make for the Titans in this one. And it starts with the unique nature of Week 3 in the National Football League. Before I talk about that, I got to ask you guys a simple favor. If you like these type of breakdowns, boom, hit that like button. Thank you. Makes all the difference. It really does for the YouTube algorithms. 1 like. We appreciate it very, very much. Thank you. Comment below. Tell us what you think about this game, who you like in the NFL this weekend. Appreciate those comments very much. And, of course, if you haven't done so already, subscribe to the WagerTalk YouTube channel. Well over 200,000 of you have already subscribed to this channel. It's insane, the growth. And the reason that we're getting this kind of growth is because we put out good content every day. So you get instant alerts when these video goes live. Subscribe to WagerTalk TV on YouTube. You can also visit my homepage, wt.buzz/TC, or just go to WagerTalk.com. Weekend Warrior Pass, just $49. Gets you every play all weekend long. College football and the NFL. That's Saturday, Sunday, and Monday night. $49. No bait and switch. Nothing more to buy. It's a really good deal. Check it out. Again, WagerTalk.com. If you haven't tried us out before, and I understand, not everyone's a pick buyer. It's okay. I'm not going to be mad at you if you don't buy plays. But if you're interested, this is a great deal. If you've never bought before, you're thinking about it, the Weekend Warrior Package, $49. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, all access football. Available on my page, wt.buzz/TC, and everyone's page at WagerTalk.com. So here's this Tennessee team, and they were lucky to get the cover Week 1 against Denver. And they were lucky to be in the game, essentially, against L.A. Last week. And if you remember the Week 1 game where Denver skewed the field goal and went for it on 4th down, and Tennessee ended up getting the hook, covering by a hook. So they lose that game by 8 points. They lose this past week by 2 touchdowns. There's been virtually no home field edge for Tennessee. I got them, 0 straight, 0-8 again, 0-11, their last 11 at home. It's not like this has been a home field that's been worth anything in the markets in recent years. That being said, what do we want to do in Week 2? Simple strategy. Long-term success. Well over 60% long-term. Just bet on the 0-2 teams. You bet on the 0-2 underdogs. You bet on the 0-2 teams facing 2-0 teams. You bet on the 0-2 teams facing 1-1 teams. The markets and the bettors gravitate against the 0-2 teams this time of year, in this week. And from a systematic, formulaic, you're going to end up on some ugly dogs, But history has shown that the ugly dogs find a way, especially against fat and happy opponents like Indy, who's a little bit fat and happy off of the way they won last week. Tennessee's different. Look, this team's not thinking about being in the playoffs. They're just trying to get a W for Coach Callahan and company. And I think they're live to do it this week, or at least come pretty darn close. But this is 1 week. Again, I'm not looking to bet against the 0-2 teams in the National Football League. If I'm playing a game involving an 0-2 team, I'm playing on that team because history shows very clearly that desperation pays off against the spread, and the lack of market respect from bettors for the 0-2 teams also has shown long-term to provide value with these type of teams. So it's Titans or pass. I know it's an ugly look, but it's Titans or pass for this better from the side standpoint when it comes to Colts at Tennessee on Sunday. Thank you so much for watching Wager Talk TV. Best of luck with all your bets. We appreciate those likes, comments, and follows. And check out my homepage, www.buzz.com/TC, or just visit the website, WagerTalk.com. Good luck. Cheers.
Let's start in the NFL with the Raiders and the Commanders. Listen, Jaden Daniels injury news. Does it matter? Does it not matter? What's your breakdown on this game?
Sure. So with the Raiders and the Commanders, all right, it's two teams, to be perfectly frank, I don't know that I trust either one of them. All right. So it's a pick your poison type of ballgame. Now, Mariota has filled in okay for Jaden Daniels. That being said, this Washington, Mariota's a career backup, and Daniels is an emerging young star. So there's a significant difference between the two QBs, and the point spread obviously telling us that with the money coming for Las Vegas after the injury concerns for Washington. And of course, looking at the Odds Logic live odds screen right now, I'm seeing mostly 3 for the Commanders. Total sitting 44. There are some 43.5s and 44.5s out there. And Washington, the oldest team in the league this year. All right. I thought that was an issue for them last Thursday night when they went to Green Bay and were really outplayed, outprepared, outclassed. Nothing worked for them. It was still a one-score game in the fourth quarter. They had a chance to come in under the number and make things interesting. Couldn't get it done. Offensive line injury for Washington, defensive injury for Washington. This isn't a team I'm excited about laying points with. That said, it's a Raiders team coming off, let's call it what it was on Monday night. That was a pretty ugly showing. Certainly on the offensive side of the football, the defense played well. And the defense of these units is the one that we trust less to have back-to-back good games, especially against a Washington team that didn't play well. A lot of criticism for Geno Smith and his interception in that ballgame. A lot of criticism of Pete Carroll not running Ashton Junty enough for the Raiders. So there's certainly these concerns for Las Vegas right now. And when you talk about a team that hasn't won, now going east for an early start game, injury problems, and the chirpings there, that's a concern for me. Again, so this isn't a load up to the window game, back the dump truck, back the Brinks truck up to the window and bet a bunch of money. This is not one of my stronger opinions. It's not a client play. But I have to play this game right now at -3. The only way I can play it is the home team, not the road dog. I worry about Vegas in the travel spot. I worry about the early start game. I worry about the injuries on both sides of the football. And I worry that maybe they're not, I don't think they're the better of the two teams. Even though for the full season, I like Raiders over their win total, Commanders under their win total. Week 3, Washington's not as banged up as they're going to be. I lean to the favorite here at -3 or less.
But tell everyone what you have up for this weekend. Big weekend of football.
Sure, absolutely. Locked and loaded in the NFL already. Got 3 plays up for a Sunday, including a top total and a 4% best bet game of the week. And in addition, the college football card will be posted. I was waiting and I didn't get it done before we went on here. I'll be posting the college card within the next few minutes after we get off the air. So check out my homepage, wt.buzz/TC. Don't buy any plays. Get on board with this Weekend Warrior package. It's a really good deal. $49 every play, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, all football plays. And there's nothing more to buy. There's no bait and switch or bigger selections, anything like that. $49, the Weekend Warrior package. Get it right now on my homepage, wt.buzz/TC.
We're heading into week 3 of the NFL season, and in this video, we're going to talk about 2 games. We'll get it started with the Pittsburgh Steelers at the New England Patriots, and I'll take a look at the side in that game. And then we'll finish it off with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers hosting the New York Jets, and I'll take a look at the total in that game. We were a perfect 3-0 with our NFL free play videos last week on this channel, so we're looking to remain hot here this week. Only one video this week, so you better smash that like button, share it with your friends. And if you got anything to say to me in the comments below about this game or any other game, I welcome your feedback. Now let's get into it. The Pittsburgh Steelers come in 1-1. Of course, they came from behind to defeat the New York Jets in a shootout in week 1. Aaron Rodgers looked impressive in that game, but the defense did not look impressive at all. And then they go on to lose to the Seattle Seahawks in week 2 at home. Sam Darnold throws for 295 yards, a pair of touchdowns, and a pair of interceptions. And the Steelers gave up almost 400 yards of total offense in both their first 2 games of the season. This defense was projected to have the number 1 ranked defensive line in the NFL heading into the season. A combination of injuries and just poor play and disappointing performances. This is not a strong defense at the moment. And they come into this game at New England banged up. Aaron Rodgers has thrown for 447 yards, 5 touchdowns, and a pair of interceptions on 40 of 63 passing so far. So this Steelers offense is throwing the ball a lot more than we're used to seeing, and they're not able to run the ball. They've been very ineffective running the ball, averaging just 62.5 yards per game on the ground. And perhaps that's putting more pressure on their defense. It has been a struggle, and with the injuries they have heading into this game in New England, I'm not sure I can buy the fact that Pittsburgh comes in as a road favorite. The Patriots also 1-1. They did not look great against Las Vegas in their home opener, but then they looked a little better at Miami. I guess Miami's making everybody look good these days. Drake May's thrown for 517 yards, 3 touchdowns and a pick, but he's been very accurate, completing 71% of his passes. New England, they're a little banged up on the offensive line, and normally that would be a huge concern, but with the Pittsburgh Steelers injuries on their defense, those two things might sort of cancel each other out. The Pats certainly have history on their side. They're 8-1 straight up in the last 9 meetings between these two teams, and they're 4-0 in their last 4 home games against the Steelers. I think this Steelers team just looks a little bit dysfunctional to me. I'm really not buying the Aaron Rodgers at quarterback, and the defense has looked awful. So I think this is a case of the wrong team favored. We're going to take the New England Patriots getting a couple points as a home dog. Before we talk about the second game, I got to tell you about a promotion we have available right now at WagerTalk.com. We did this last weekend, and apparently it was very popular. They want to do it again. Man, they're giving away my picks, all my football picks, all weekend long, just $49. That gets you all the college football on Saturday, all the NFL on Sunday, and they're even giving you the Monday night football game as well. And I got a Big Ten game of the year going this Saturday, and I got my Monday night football game of the year going on Monday night. So this Weekend Warrior package will be very popular for myself, at least. As always, there's no purchase necessary. You're more than welcome to tune in just for the free picks. Remember, you do have to take the time to smash the like button. That allows me to keep putting out these videos. And as always, if you got anything to say about this game or any other game, hit me up in the comments below. Now let's talk about the New York Jets. Man, the offense looked good for a while. They almost fooled me. Justin Fields leading this team, marching up and down the field, scoring points against the mighty Pittsburgh Steelers. That didn't last long, did it? They go to Buffalo the following week. They couldn't get out of their own way. Justin Fields gets hurt, and now we're looking at Tyrod Taylor. The Jets ranked 29th in the NFL in passing, just 133 yards per game. Maybe Tyrod Taylor is going to revitalize the passing game a little bit, but they will certainly be less dynamic without the legs of Justin Fields. At this age, I don't think Tyrod Taylor wants to go out there and start running the football. It's going to be a very conservative approach for the Jets offense on the road with Tyrod Taylor at quarterback. It's probably going to be slow, ugly. The punters should get a workout here in this one. I will say that Tyrod Taylor, we've seen him come in games and play this role before, and I've had a look at his last 14 games that he's appeared in, and 11 of those games saw his team score less than 20 points. And I certainly would expect that trend to continue here on the road at Tampa Bay. The Bucs are off to a 2-0 start, but they could just as easily be 0-2. Baker Mayfield with the magic pair of walk-off touchdowns. They scored late against Atlanta in week 1. Then Atlanta marches down the field and misses what would have been a game-winning field goal or a game-tying field goal. So a little bit of luck for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in week 1. And then what do? They do the same thing at Houston the following week. Baker scores a late touchdown, and they come from behind to defeat the Texans. And both those games, very low scoring. Both those games kind of ugly games. Baker Mayfield, outside of the final 2 minutes of the first half and the final 2 minutes of the game, the offense has not looked that good. The one thing I will say, though, about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is you can't run on them. Neither one of their opponents have had any success running the ball, which is bad news for a Jets team coming in with their backup quarterback. Normally that means you like to lean on the running game a little more. Well, that's just not going to work out very well against this Tampa Bay Bucs team. The Bucs have a ton of injuries on the offensive line. They've got 2 wide receivers that are questionable. Godwin and Egbuka are both questionable to play. And the way this offense has looked with offensive line injuries, as bad as the Jets are, this Tampa Bay offense is not lighting it up, and I would expect that trend to continue. So I just don't know where the points are going to come from in this game. The total sits at 43.5, and I think we got to go under that 43.5. I think the first team to score 21 probably wins this game. So I just don't see them getting to 44 points in this game. We're taking under 43.5 in Tampa Bay versus New York Jets. And we're taking the Patriots as a home dog against the Steelers. If you like this video, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. If you got anything to say to me, even if it's nasty, hit me up in the comments below, and I will get back to you as soon as I can.
Let's talk some football here, Marco. We're going to go over Rams, Eagles, Auburn, Oklahoma, and you're going to give us our sauce of the week. Let's do Rams and Eagles. Fascinating game. We know what happened last time these two teams met here. Phillies -3, over-under set at 45.5. I personally think the narrative about the Philly passing game is quite laughable. Picking apart the Super Bowl winner and the guy that's won 1 million games in a row starting, to me, is kind of interesting. But boy, the Rams had a great game plan for them. How do you break this game down?
Well, I got to start with, in Philadelphia's done everything asked of them. But let's be honest. How much can you ask of a team to start a season? This is the 3rd high-profile game in a row. They started the season with the Thursday night game, as the Super Bowl champs always do. You raise the banner and all that, and everybody's, high-fiving everyone. It's an exciting situation. You had a little bit of the air taken out in that game. If you remember, the first half of that game was a track meet. Okay, they went up and down the field, both them and Dallas. It was, I think, 21-20 at the half, and then there was only 3 points scored in the second half. Then you've got Philadelphia off of that, feel-good game, get your rings and everything, to go on the road and relive the Super Bowl again, the team you just beat. So another high-profile game, physical game. Dogfight, could have went either way. We know what happened with the tip pass and everything in the end zone for Kansas City. Tush push comes through again for Philadelphia, as it always does. Now they got to return home off of those 2 games to face another high-profile team who they beat to get to the Super Bowl. Philadelphia beats the Rams in the playoffs last year. And I always say, revenge is the most overused term in sports betting, except certain situations. And you always remember the team that ended your season, and that's the Philadelphia Eagles for the Rams. I think the Rams, this is the great spot for them, and I know it's a little bit of obviously an overreaction to the offense with Philadelphia, but you can't deny the fact that we've gone now 6 quarters for the Philadelphia Eagles, where they have not done a lot offensively. Granted, one of them was a good defense, Kansas City. The other one, the week before last week, just made Russell Wilson look like a Hall of Famer throwing for 400 and some yards against them. I'm going to go ahead and take the Rams in this one, plus the points. I think they get their revenge. It's going to be another dogfight. But remember, the Rams had an opportunity to win that game last year in Philadelphia.
I love it. Russell Wilson with the stats and the loss. Jalen Hurts just takes the win. I'll gladly take the win. A lot going on there. All right, Marco, great segment. We got the Weekend Warrior pass going. It's only $49 for football. What do you have up for everyone this weekend?
Well, we're going to have another 5% play this weekend. Last weekend, if you took advantage of that Weekend Warrior package, we went 3-1 on Saturday, 2-1 on Sunday, and that 2-1 on Sunday just told you who the one was. It should have been 3-0. Okay, so that would have been a pretty sweet week. The icing on the cake was our 5% play. Now 32-13 with those 5% plays. Well, that was as fun as it could be. We had a 5% play on North Texas -6. A 59-10 winner, no sweat. I didn't have to lose any more hair. I can't afford to. That was an easy win. So take the Weekend Warrior. But I'm going to tell you about a special that we have that's going with myself and VR Iani. It's the perfect 1-2 punch, okay? Ace is off to a great start this football season. I am the number 2 handicapper in Money One, college and pro, the last 2 seasons. And why I say we're a great 1-2 punch, VR is going to give you volume. If you want a lot of action, VR's got you covered. You know that from listening to the Steam reports and everything. I'm more selective. I like, my meat and potatoes. I want to, get the 4 or 5 best games on a Saturday and, 3 games on Sunday and attack hard. Great compliment to the two of us. You can get both of us through the Super Bowl, all of our college and pro football selections, both of us for $11.98. It's a special we're running. It's the Bet On It team. Head on over to WagerTalk. You can find that special on either my page or VR's page and get both of us for $11.98.
The NFC West has been the best division in football so far this season. 8 games, only 1 loss for the entire division, and we got a first-place showdown with Arizona and San Francisco to talk about. Let's break it down with a big game breakdown for Sunday. Teddy Covers from WagerTalk.com talking Cardinals and Niners. Right now, looking at the Odds Logic live odds screen, the 3s are popping up for San Francisco. We're sitting at 2.5. There's still 2.5s available as we record. I'm assuming if Brock Purdy plays for the Niners, it looks like he's going to play right now, that we will continue to see San Francisco money. So if you like the minus, or if you like the 49ers side, there's some urgency to that. If you like the Arizona side, there's no urgency. You're waiting on the +3 that are popping up as we speak, as I record this video on Friday. But anyhow, we're 2.5, 3, the prevailing number, 46.5, the total. I want to talk about the total in this ballgame. I got to play on the side for the clients on my homepage, wt.buzz/TC. But the total here really stands out. All right. Certainly, when if San Francisco goes back to Purdy, that's advantage offense. Obviously, Purdy has been running Kyle Shanahan's system for many years. But this offense is not a well-oiled machine just yet. You have offensive line injuries. You have receiver injuries. You have quarterbacks shuttling in and out of the lineup. Arizona's defense has shown vulnerability the first couple of weeks. No question. Against New Orleans and Carolina, not 2 of the best offensive teams in the league. That said, against New Orleans, they did a really good job in the red zone and were able to get stops when it mattered. And against Carolina, they're up 27-3. It's natural for the defense to let down. I look at Arizona's defense as being the bet on unit on that team. I'm not convinced San Francisco is going to march the ball up and down the field. That being said, 49ers defense has been pretty darn good this season. And one thing we don't have from Arizona yet is a whole lot of chemistry between Kyler Murray and his receiving core. All right. Where the downfield passing game has been spotty. They've been able to score non-offensive TDs, put themselves in good field position. But this offense is not a let's march the ball up and down the field, 4 or 5 times a game. It's not happening in that way for Arizona, at least not just yet. They have had some success against San Francisco. They did have success against San Fran last year. And Kyler Murray can make plays. I mean, Murray's ability to extend plays gives defenses fits. San Francisco fits in both meetings last year when Arizona won them both in straight-up fashion, leaving the 49ers in double revenge for this meeting. But the total's been bet up. Again, we're looking at 46.5 right now here in Vegas, as low as 45.5 in other places, but it's still too high. Divisional matchup, first place on the line. Both teams are defenses that we trust a little bit more than offenses, and I'm expecting more field goals than touchdowns in this one. So Arizona, San Fran under the total makes a whole lot of sense to this better. And of course, I am in play on the side for the clients on my homepage, www.buzz.com/TC. If you like this type of breakdown, please give us that thumbs up. Makes all the difference. Thank you for doing that. Comment below. Tell us what you think about this game, what you like on Sunday in NFL action. And of course, if you haven't done so already, more than 200,000 subscribers to the Wager Talk YouTube channel. If you haven't done so, do it now, and you'll get instant alerts every time these videos go live. Like, comment, subscribe, check out my page, and good luck this weekend. Thanks for watching Wager Talk TV. I hope you slay them with all your bets on Sunday. Cheers.
2 free NFL plays on the late afternoon card Sunday coming up with analysis for you right here, right now. Hi, this is Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com, right back here on Wager Talk TV, and I'm breaking down both of your 4 o'clock Eastern games. In the AFC, we've got the Broncos-Chargers, NFC, Saints-Seahawks. Let's start, though, with that AFC game first. Broncos at the Chargers, and on the surface, tough scheduling spot for the LA Chargers in their home debut. Actually, they were technically the home team in Brazil, and then they had to go play Monday Night Football in Las Vegas. So 2 back-to-back national TV weeknight games, and traveling back home now, so 3rd different site in 3 weeks, and their 3rd straight divisional game against the Broncos. So on the surface, probably not a great spot situationally. However, I still think there's value with the Chargers in this game due to the point spread. It's basically a straight-up win situation for what I consider the better team at just -2.5, and that's the LA Chargers. And while the scheduling spot's a little scary on the surface, and by the way, they got to play the New York Giants next week, travel cross-country, it's a situation in which I think they are the better team, and they should get a little bit of a boost being on their true home field for the first time all season. And that 20-9 win against the Raiders last week should have been a lot more. Yes, they covered the 3.5. I'm a bit bitter because we had the team total over 24.5 for the game for a best bet play. They got to 17 at the half. Probably had an 95% chance of winning that play, and they land on 20. Some questionable play calls, snapping the ball as a play clock expires on every play. Anyway, they still win the game rather easily, even though they didn't play great. And I think the LA Chargers remain an underrated team for that reason. Meanwhile, the Broncos, back-to-back lackluster showings, 1-1 straight up, but 0-2 against the spread. Meanwhile, the Chargers have won and covered both games. And as I said, at just -2.5, I think they remain an underrated team. Beating Tennessee is nothing special. And then beating the Colts losing by the Colts by 1 on the road. Maybe that'll turn out to be a decent showing. We'll see. I think this is the toughest team the Broncos have played yet this season. It's almost a little bit of a step down in class for the Chargers after those 2 tough national spotlight games on the road. I like the LA Chargers here, minus the 2.5. Now, my one concern is that the Chargers look to be one of the most public sides this week, and we never like to be on the public side. But as I say, I use it as a filter only. We don't just blindly fade the public. So yes, the Chargers look public, but once again, the line value is still there. One of the reasons fading the public works is because the line is normally inflated, and this just doesn't appear to be to me. It's not at 3 or 3.5. Minus 2.5 or less. I like the Chargers. They're a play-on team for me right now this first month of the NFL season. Also at 4:05 Eastern, next game on the rotation schedule in the NFC, the Saints and Seahawks. Now this one also sitting right around a key number, currently 7 in some spots. Others do have 7.5. In fact, most spots now have 7.5. If you like the Seahawks, you want to probably grab 7 while it's still available. But most spots, especially by kickoff on Sunday, I think will have 7.5. And at plus 7.5 or more, I do start leaning towards the New Orleans Saints. Now, I know they've been an ugly team the last couple seasons, and on paper this year, offensively, they haven't been very good either. But if you start digging deeper, Spencer Rattler's actually playing okay at quarterback. His 5.3 yards per pass is not pretty. They've been doing a lot of short passes, taking it safe, but 3 touchdowns, no interception, a 90.7 QB rating, which is actually better in 2 games than Sam Darnold for the Seahawks, who has just an 88.8. 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, but he's throwing for almost 8 yards per pass. So that's been the big difference between the two quarterbacks. But that conservative nature, not turning the ball over, keeping games close, actually makes the Saints somewhat of appealing underdog here at plus 7.5. And keep in mind, even though they're 0-2 straight up and 0-2 against the spread this year, the 2-point spread losses have come by 1 point and 2 point, and the 2 losses have been by just 7 points and 5 points. So at plus 7.5, I do think there's some value with the Saints, especially above that key number. And it's also might be a little bit of a flat spot for the Seahawks. Big game against San Francisco. They came up short, and then they went on the road as a dog last week, cross-country, and upset the Pittsburgh Steelers. Played really well in that game. Now they travel cross-country back home, and they have a big divisional game at Arizona next Thursday night on a 3-day short week. This looks like a little bit of a hangover spot here and a sandwich spot. I like the Saints, especially at that key number of plus 7.5. That goes at 4:05 Eastern as well on Sunday afternoon. Hey, there you go. A little quick hitter on 2 under-the-radar games on the late afternoon card for Sunday at 4 Eastern. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, thumbs up, like, positive comment below, and I will keep these videos coming. I try to give you as much information on as many games as possible each and every week here on Wager Talk TV. Don't forget to check out my Sunday night preview for the Chiefs and Giants, free play in that game, and also your Monday night game, Lions-Ravens. 2 big games on Sunday and Monday night broken down for you free here. And, of course, we cast another prime winner this past Thursday night with the Bills team total over. Never in doubt. Last minute of the game. Hey, we got there, though. Now 4-0 on the Thursday night plays. We had the Cowboys in Week 1, Packers under in Week 2, Bills team total over 30.5 in Week 3. So 4-0 on those Thursday Spotlight Prime games. I always give you the Sunday and Monday night games free here as well on Wager Talk TV. And all I ask is a thumbs up, like, and a positive comment below. Even if you don't have time for the comment, just a thumbs up, like, is all we need to keep this content free and plentiful here on Wager Talk TV. Don't forget also about my NFL Fade the Public video for the most public sides this week. I mentioned the Chargers might make that video. What other teams will be in there? Hey, check it out here on Wager Talk TV. And when you subscribe for free, click subscribe. Make sure you click that bell as well so you never miss out when one of these free play videos is posted for either college football, pro football, even Major League Baseball on a daily basis. Now, don't forget my personal best bets of the games I'm using each and every day, and I send them to all my clients as well. My paid subscribers get the exact same games I'm using, same games I've won consistently with for the past 29 years as a full-time professional handicapper. If you'd like to get on board right now, I've got a special 7-day sampler for just $69 when you use promo code SM69. Go to my page, select the 7-day all access. Normally it's $99, and at checkout, use promo code SM69, and you get an instant 30% discount. That gets it down to less than $10 a day, less than $5 a play for every college and pro football best bet and baseball best bet for the next 7 days and nights. And no, don't sleep on baseball, by the way. Last year, I finished on an incredible 57-28 winning run through the World Series. Once again, if you've been wanting to try out my service, now's the time to do so. Save 30% instantly with promo code SM69. 7-day sampler for just $69. Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com. Or if you want a longer-term investment approach, the 1-year all-access promo code is still active. Gets it down to about $1 a play with an instant $811 discount for the 1-year all-access with promo code SM365. Look, you don't have to memorize the special offers. The promo codes are all listed on my homepage right now, along with the best bets, and also with a daily free play. The last cut for my best bet card goes up as a free play for everybody each day with written analysis. Check out the daily free play right now. Check out the special offers. Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com. And hey, get there quicker with shortcut wt.buzz/SM. On the way out, don't forget to follow me on social media at Steve Merrill, 2 R's, 1 L, MERRIL, at Steve Merrill on X and Instagram. And stay tuned here to Wager Talk TV because you know there's more free play videos coming up next, including the Sunday night and Monday night previews right here, right now. Sunday Night Football on NBC. Chiefs and Giants, a pair of 0-2 straight-up desperate teams. We all thought the Giants would be 0-2, but not a lot of people necessarily thought the Chiefs would be. Someone's going to be 0-3 after this game, or maybe 0-2-1. I guess that's possible. I've got the way to play this game and a free best bet with analysis coming up right here, right now. Hi, this is Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com, right back here on Wager Talk TV, and hope you're having a great weekend. Saturday college football, Sunday pro football. Let's finish it off right Sunday night under the lights in New York City. And the 0-2 Chiefs, as I mentioned, traveling as a road favorite to take on the Giants, who looked better last week, looked terrible against not my Washington Commanders, and then put on a better offensive showing at least last week on the road at Dallas in a tough 3-point loss, high-scoring loss. Often can leave teams a little flat, but do we trust the Chiefs here after their 0-2 start? It's been a tough start also because they had to play down in Brazil in that Friday night game, division rival Chiefs, and then, of course, the Super Bowl rematch last week against the Eagles at home. So while you would expect Kansas City to bounce back, maybe it's not that simple. Do they have much left in the tank? And they were kind of a play against team for me this year. The Super Bowl loser normally struggles, and we saw how bad that offensive line was last year in the Super Bowl loss to the Eagles. But not sure the Giants are still at the level of the Kansas City Chiefs. They're projected to be one of the worst teams in the league. So let's look at a player prop for your free best bet for this video. And there is a prop I like a lot for several reasons. First of all, I think it makes a lot of sense. I think it's going a little bit under the radar, and we get line value on top of that. And that is Patrick Mahomes rushing yards over 28.5. Now, I'm doing this video heading into the weekend. I'm using the DraftKings props line. And it's pretty crazy when you look at DraftKings, you see over under 28.5, and then you see they put his seasonal average right next to it. 61.5 yards is his seasonal average. How weird is that? He's averaging 61.5 rushing yards a game so far after the 2 games, and he's priced at 28.5. Now, the reason, of course, is because historically Mahomes does not run for that much. In fact, if you look at his yardage rushed over the last few seasons, I'll pull it up here in front of me. Many games he'll have 19, 20, 25 yards. And then the first 2 games this season, as I mentioned, 57 and 66 yards, 6 attempts and 7 attempts. You go back to the end of the regular season last year, he had 5, 1, 2, 4, 2, 5, 0, 3. He is running more in the first 2 games. So the question becomes, is that a fluke? And I don't think it is. I look for Mahomes to be more mobile this season. We saw how bad the offensive line looked in that Super Bowl loss to the Eagles last year. Eagles didn't even blitz, and they sacked him, I think it was 6 times. And not only that, the Giants have a strong defensive line. I think they will bring the pressure. So even if he's not looking to run, he's going to have to run to get away from the sacks and the pressure, which also adds up to rushing yards. I like Patrick Mahomes over 28.5 rushing yards Sunday Night Football on NBC. Hey, comment below. What are your thoughts on this? Side, total, player props. How are you attacking this game on Sunday night? Also, what other plays did you like this week in the NFL? Hey, chime in below. Always read the comments. We always reply back. Love the support here on Wager Talk TV. And don't forget, if you're liking these free play videos, all I ask is a thumbs up like and a positive comment below, and I will keep them coming all season long for both college football and pro football. By the way, be sure to check out my Monday night free play video as well for the big game Monday between the Lions and Ravens here. And when you click subscribe, click the bell for an instant alert so you know when these videos are posted, including my NFL Fade the Public video each and every weekend. By the way, the only way to get my personal best bets, the games I'm actually using each week, is as a direct subscriber on my page at WagerTalk.com. And if you'd like to try a 7-day sampler right now, college and pro football and Major League Baseball, the next 7 days and nights, you can do so for just $69 with promo code SM69. It's a 7-day all-access pass for just $69. Now, normally it's $99, so choose the 7-day, $99 1 week. But then at checkout, use promo code SM69 for the instant 30% discount, and you'll get the next 7 days and nights for less than $10 a day. You see the promo on the screen there. You got to use promo code SM69. That works out to about less than $5 a play. I average 2 to 3 plays per day. Everyone loves $5 Tuesday. How about getting every best bet I release for football and baseball the next 7 days and nights for less than $5 a play? SM69 gets you a 7-day sampler for just $69. And you can choose when you want to start it. If it's late Sunday, start it on Monday and go through next Sunday night. Get all the college and pro football. Or if you're joining us earlier in the weekend, you want to get that whole Sunday NFL card, go through next Saturday. You can choose your start date. 7-day all access for $69 with promo code SM69. Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com. By the way, while you're there, check out my free daily bonus free play. I put a top opinion. My last cut for my best bet card goes up free for everybody as a daily free play on my page with analysis. So check out that free play right now as well. Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com. And hey, get there quicker with shortcut wt.buzz/SM. On the way out, don't forget to follow me on social media at Steve Merrill, 2 R's, 1 L, MERRIL, at Steve Merrill on X and Instagram. And stay tuned here to Wager Talk TV. You know there's more free play videos coming up next.
The Chiefs travel to New York for their first official game on the road, even though they played in another country. Welcome, everyone. I'm Andy from Wager Talk. We're going to break down the Chiefs and the Giants. I'm going to tell you why I like the Giants and all of those points here. It's kind of difficult when you dig into some of these stats because you have a Chiefs team that played technically a home game in their opener, in a different country. They lose by 6, and then they play at home to Philadelphia Eagles, rematch the Super Bowl. They play them tough. They only lose by 3 in a game that they had every opportunity to try and win. And then you look at the Giants on the other hand. The Giants just looked awful in week 1. And you say, well, was that because it was Russell Wilson's first game with the Giants? Because week 2, they get the gift of playing the Dallas defense. And I think these numbers get really, really skewed because of that game. Because of that game, the Giants on paper have one of the best passing offenses in the league. Do we really believe that's sustainable for the rest of the season? Probably not. Another stat that I look at is the defense in rushing. Giants giving up 5.9 yards per carry. It's awful. It's second worst. Congratulations if you knew that Buffalo was the worst team at yards per carry. But is this a Chiefs team that can take advantage of this? Their best running back has not been a running back. It's been Patrick Mahomes. So is this an area that the Chiefs can exploit? When we look at overall defense, I think it's pretty obvious that we would say that the Chiefs have been better. They really got torched by Dallas. So with that being said, these stats so skewed, how do we determine who's going to cover the spread? Well, I'm going to take a look at the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm going to tell you why I like the Giants at this +6, +6.5. If you even want to try and bump this up to 7, I like it even more. Here's why. We look at Kansas City Chiefs, and one of the narratives last year was, well, the Chiefs won so many close one-score games. The narrative is they were in so many one-score games. Of their 17 regular season games last year, 13 of them were either losses or wins by 1 score. So when you're telling me I get a home team that's coming off a big offensive explosion, they're at home in a primetime game, and you're giving me points against a team that is banged up in the wide receiver area, they don't have these explosive plays. Their best running back has been their quarterback. I'm going to take every single one of those points from the Giants. Now, do I think the Chiefs win? Yes, because the Giants did last week what the Giants do. They play good, and then they blow it at the end. So I think the Chiefs are going to squeak out a close one, but I would lean for this to be a pretty close game. The Giants do have a very good defensive line, but I just don't see Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes going 0-3. Now, the fatigue with them and all of the extra football they played in the postseason looks to be very, very real. However, losing a very close one to the Chargers, losing a very close one to Philadelphia does not mean that stick a fork in him, this team is done. I think they get back on track with the win, but I think this Giants team, and don't forget, Russell Wilson is fighting for a job, auditioning for another team. The Giants know that Jackson Dart is going to get playing time. But Russell Wilson coming off a big game, he's going to be trying as hard as he absolutely can. Tyrone Tracy is a little bit banged up, but Cam Scattaboo is going to be a little bit of an X factor here for this team. So don't be surprised if the Giants give a very spirited effort. That's why I will take the Giants and all of these points. If you guys could do me a favor real quick, hit the like button and please leave me a comment. Tell me what you think of this game. I love reading these comments. I love seeing props that are out there. I'm recording this on Friday. We don't have a lot of props because of the Xavier Worthy situation. Again, it's another reason why I like the Giants to cover. Is Xavier Worthy playing? Is he going to be 100%? What's his status? So if you want all of our bets that we bet with our own money, and you should, we can grab our NFL Week 3 props pack. We've hit 59.3% of our bets in the NFL through weeks 1 and 2. And what I love about that percentage is it's sustainable. It's profitable and sustainable. I get terrified when we go on a 75% run because you know regression is coming. So very, very happy with that percentage. If we can keep that up through the rest of the season, we're going to have an NFL season for the ages. So partner up with us, get all of our props. That's every single play for Sunday and Monday as well. We also have our college football team total of the week. That is up. We've hit 64% of those lifetime. We're very low volume in college football. So when we put up a play, you know what to do. We're coming off a heartbreaking loss last week. We had Oregon over 37.5. Those that were with us, you know, they landed on 34 with a million chances to score. But that's the nature of the beast. But we're back, and we're looking for revenge this week in a spot that we just love looking to really up that percentage on the 64% winning percentage. We have the Weekend Warrior Pass. If you want to wrap all football plays into one pass, it's only $49. Get you every single play for Saturday, Sunday, Monday, NFL, and college football. All of those plays are over at wt.buzz/AL. Thank you so much for joining us. Good luck on all your plays. Again, wt.buzz/AL is where all the plays are. Leave a comment below. I love reading the comments. I love seeing what you guys are thinking and what you guys are playing. I love seeing props, same game parlays, anything you got. Love seeing what you guys are up to this weekend. So good luck on all your plays. Let's bet responsibly, but let's get the Chiefs a win and the Giants to cover.
Beautiful Sunday morning NFL Week 3. The wonderful Ariel Epstein. You guys know her as the prop queen. She'll be here most Sundays, but the Sunday she's not. You guys are stuck with me. Yesterday was an eventful college football Saturday. Let's see if Sunday lives up to the hype. We're going to bring in VR. We're going to bring in Ralph Michaels. We got John Murray coming in and Brian Power batting cleanup for us there in the fourth seat. VR, welcome on in. I know we got a quick segment with you this morning because you're off to the steam room.
Oh, yeah. And we got a lot of information, a lot of games to go through. And real quickly, the only question, I keep seeing it everywhere, man. They ask me on social media as well, what are the needs? What is the public on? What does the book need? Guys, the book doesn't need anything. They just need to open their doors. We're laying 11-10, so we're already taking the worst of it. And then on top of it, some are laying -112s, -113s, -115. They're parlaying same game parlays. They're teasing teams, not numbers. Like the needs of the books, you shouldn't be all that concerned about because again, the books do just fine week in, week out, month in, month out. And, fading the public isn't a recipe for success. It just isn't. Real quickly, here's what we have. If you do want to know the public sides, here's the 5 heaviest public sides: Houston, Dallas, Rams, Saints, and Indianapolis. Now, what sticks out a lot are the Rams, the Jets, and Carolina. Those are 3 dogs that are getting bet by the public. That's correct. The Rams, the Jets, and Carolina all have more action than the favorite side, which is rare in the NFL. And when it comes to the Rams side, it's like 7 out of every 10 bets are on the Rams. And even the Jets, it's close to 7 out of 10 and over 6 out of 10 on Carolina. So those big dogs look like they're the public sides today. And again, they're opposite. They like Houston. They like Dallas. They like the Saints. They like Indianapolis. Some of the sharper sides today, Raiders. Raiders, they started betting the Raiders. We talked about that earlier in the week. They took the look ahead. They bet it all the way down to +3.5. That's where I released it to subscribers. They also did bet the Rams. So that's a public and that's a sharp side as well. They got 3.5 on the Rams. They took Houston at +2, but they also bet Jacksonville in the first quarter, first half. They got Denver +3, Saints +7, Chicago +1, San Francisco -1.5 and money line, and then they bet Detroit on Monday night. That was some of the steam that came in, but keep your eyes on Odds Logic. Or at the very least, the WagerTalk odds screen, because you're going to see a lot of movement over the next 60 minutes. A lot of the manipulation that happened early when limits are low, you're going to see the real sides come in probably over the next 60 minutes. So pay attention to those late line moves.
Really quickly, guys, if you want to join VR on the Steam Room, you do have to be a client, but we're also opening it up to those Wager Talk insiders, wt.buzz/insider to join $2.99 a month right now. And you get all these fun emojis. You get insider access, specialty videos, and things like that. Plus, it's the Steam Room. VR, one of the things I like to ask you about early in the week on Bet On It when we're together is some of these teaser spots. So as of Wednesday, we had the Bucks, we had the Cards, we had the Broncos, we had the Packers. The Cowboys were available to be teased. And then, of course, I think the whole world is going to tease Seattle today. And I kind of don't blame them. The Bucks are no longer in that Wong. The Cowboys are no longer in that Wong. Let's talk about why you wait, as well as what you're going to play today.
That's exactly why I wait until as late as possible on Sunday, because I want the line to be as efficient as possible. I need it to be sharp, because that is the highest probability that the game lands near the number. And if it lands near the number, our teasers cash. That's the whole point of having the teaser. As of right now, if the games were going off in 10 minutes, me and my subscribers would only have one teaser in play. We would have Arizona plus 7.5. And then where was that other 1.5? There was one more that I saw.
So we wouldn't tease the Seahawks down, or we wouldn't tease the Packers down?
No, not yet. Okay. No. Only because it's 7.5 even money. I'm seeing 7 minus 115. We want it painted across the board. We want to be able to wong it.
Raiders look wongable. Patriots look wongable.
Yeah, at 1.5. See, even the Patriots are 1. It was Arizona. Yeah.
Texans possibly moving to 1.5 in some shops.
And that's the key. You got to be patient and can't force it. If it's not there, it's not there. That's why we've done so well. We've only had, 5 the first week, 4 out of 5 cash. We only had 1 last week, that one cashed. So if it's not available, we're just not going to fire. But hopefully we got time. We got almost 2 hours. We're going to get some 1.5s out there, Cal. We'll get some 1.5s. We'll probably get a 7.5 as well across the board. We'll have some teasers in line.
Absolutely. As VR mentioned, a little less than 2 hours before kickoff. Guys, if you have a question for Ralph or Brian Power or John Murray, drop it in the chat. But we're going to let VR give himself a little promo, get him out of here because he's got a lot of work to do between now and kickoff.
Yeah, if you head on over to my social media, you'll see updated results. Number 1 in college football in 2025. Number 2 in the NFL regular season 2025. Number 1 football combined. Told you what was happening in 2025. If you're betting this NFL and college football season, you're going to want to know what we're betting each and every week. Plus, you get the Steam Room with that, which is coming up today. We'll be leading into kickoff, answer all your questions, go through every game, and let's just keep crushing it in college football and NFL. Keep doing damage as we await the MLB playoffs. Wish you guys all the best of luck today. Beat the books.
Yep, that is the plan. That is why we're all here. We want to beat the books. Last question from Alex really quickly. Do I come back on the Bears plus 7.5 teaser if I've already got the Cowboys and shoot for a big middle? My answer is yes. That is what I plan to do here after the show, if that is still available. VR, do you agree?
Yeah, if he's just playing teasers that are plus EV, then you have to fire it. Like if you're only teasing the sides you like, it's a different story if they fall under those numbers. But if you're teasing just the numbers, then you got to take it. Absolutely. And hope you hit that middle. It's a great middle.
It is a great middle. Let's hope we do hit that. I was lucky enough to hit one with Bills Ravens that first Sunday night. So we're going to try to run that one back at Greek_Gambler on all your social media channels, except for TikTok. You got to add the 7 there on the end. VR puts out a lot of great free content here on Wager Talk. So we thank him for that. All right, guys, the Stat Daddy. Oh, I got my glasses from Bet On It still sitting here because I never wear them, even though they're supposed to be good for your eyeballs. So I better put them on because we got Ralph Michaels in. Hi, Ralph. Good morning. I know that it is busy here for you before kickoff on Sunday mornings, but You put out some really great trends and angles for this week, so I want to kind of dive into that. We're going to take some questions from our audience between now and the next 10-ish minutes before John Murray gets here. So if you guys have a question for Ralph, @CalSportsLV is his social handle. Welcome in, Ralph.
You didn't tell me Ariel wasn't going to be here.
I'm sorry. Listen, we get more viewers when she's on. Shocker, I know. So I don't like to spoil the alert. I got to make you guys hang out with me every once in a while so that she can go celebrate the holidays with her family. Ralph, this week's TNA was loaded with a lot of data. 0-2 teams. Well, we've got two 0-2 teams that play each other tonight. We've got the Kansas City Chiefs taking on the New York Giants. Something has to give in this one.
Well, let me just go over it. If you guys watch Bet On It, the extended version, I do a TNA college football and NFL each week, or go to YouTube TV, Wager Talk YouTube, and you will see those. But I just want to mention a couple things. So many people I talk to say, 0-2 teams back at home, they're desperate, they're going to cover. Well, let me tell you this. In the last 7 years, 0-2 home favorites, 44%. 0-2 home dogs, 48%. On the flip side, if you are 0-2 and you're an away dog, you are 27-14 against the spread. That's Houston, Miami, the Jets, and New Orleans. But what happens if we have two 0-2 teams like Kansas City and the New York Giants? Well, now we have desperation on both sides of the field. Since 1993, Kelly, there's only been 34 games with two 0-2 teams like KC and the Giants. The over-under is 23, 10, and 1. 70% to the over if it's a single-digit line. So no double-digit favorites, double-digit dogs. And does it make sense to me? 100%. You are going to open the playbook. You are going to try some trick plays. You're likely going to go for it on fourth down if the game's close at the end. Add all of those up. This 0-2 over system makes complete sense to me.
All right. If you guys have a question for Ralph, drop it in the chat. Ralph, let's talk about some of these other 0-2 teams today. Are we blindly betting some of these 0-2 teams, or what should we be looking for additional criteria in order to make a wager on them? Hand up, I already bet the Saints. It was my best bet on Bet On It. I already bet the Browns. That was my barking dog. This Packers team has Dallas Sunday Night Football on deck. Just got to go in and beat the lowly Browns is all they're looking to get away with. I did tease them as well, but I do think the Browns are live. As a Cleveland guy, is this an 0-2 team you're looking at this week?
Well, there is no more of a false 0-2 team than the Cleveland Browns. We're talking about the number one defense in the NFL here. What did they do? They gave up special teams touchdowns. They gave up defensive touchdowns. The Browns allowed Cincinnati 141 yards and 11 first downs. They go to Baltimore and they allowed 41 points. Well, guess what? They were minus 2 turnovers. They allowed Baltimore 242 yards. Yeah, let me repeat that. Baltimore scored 41 points on 242 yards. I do like Cleveland, but you know what? Green Bay is also the number one defense as far as yards per play. And you look at the offenses they've played. It's not like they've played Carolinas or New Orleans. Cincinnati and Baltimore for Cleveland, Detroit and Washington, awesome offenses for the Packers and the Browns who they faced. In this game with the Browns and the Packers, I actually like the under first half. That is a client release. DraftKings had 21.5. Most places had 20.5. So the Browns are a home team. Remember, that does not fit into the category. Those home dogs are actually a negative bet on. But of the away dogs that are 0-2 teams, clearly my favorite is Houston. But again, even their profile is a little bit tight with the offense the way they've struggled the first 2 weeks.
All right, Ralph, looking for some questions here. Yes, I have the glasses on because Ralph is here, guys. Let's see. Ross is killing it with Ralph and Joe. Yes, you guys can check out the Wager Talk leaderboard anytime you guys want. If you guys also would like to see where okay, Chandler. Yeah. This is an NFL show. Hey, congratulations. Mario Cristobal does it again. I'm so happy for him. Let's chat in November. Let me get back to my train of thought. The Blitz. I mentioned you guys can see Ralph on the extended version with TNA. He's also got his own playlist over there with all the trends and angles for college football and NFL on the Wager Talk YouTube channel. But every single Thursday, you can catch him and Brian Power and Ross Benjamin on the Blitz. College football, top 25 games, and of course, some of those under the radar ones. Daryl Bitten wants to know, hey guys, what do you think of Lions Ravens over? Here's a real reality, Ralph. I've been betting a lot of these primetime games under the total. We've seen a lot of them start to cruise under, with the exception of that Ravens-Bills game that went into the 80s. Talk to me about Detroit at Baltimore, if there's a side you like, and then answer the question regarding the total.
I don't like the side, but, I'm actually looking at some notes from my son. He put this out as a free play. The total's 53, so we have a high total. So what have NFL totals done at 50 or higher? They've hit 53% since 2016. So not a wow number, but you don't have to be afraid to play them if you like them. If a total is 50 or higher during the first 4 games of the season, that percentage just goes to 59.4%. The teams are number 1 and number 4 on offensive yards per play. And the defenses, Kelly, Baltimore is number 31 in yards per game defense. Detroit is number 22 in defensive yards per play allowed. And teams off a division win by 21 points or more, like Baltimore is, they are 86-47 over under, 65% to the over. I'm not going to get to the window on this over, but if you forced me to give an opinion, there's only one way I could go with these 2 offenses and these 2 defenses.
Yep, I understand, Ralph. Okay, we want to follow back up on these 0-2. Why are 0-2 home dogs not a play on versus 0-2 road dogs? And then I want to parlay that into the Jets at the Bucks for another question here from America Returned.
Well, yeah, they're 48%. Home dogs, 0-2 home dogs are 48%. But again, it is a small sample size. It's only 12 and 13. So I'm not telling you can't play them. Home favorites like Chicago are actually 44%, so they're much worse. So Cleveland, Carolina, the Giants, and Tennessee all fall into that category. But I don't blindly play them, Kelly. This isn't a strong enough trend, and the sample size is too small, and things can happen to certain teams throughout a season that they can just implode early. So this is not one of those, I'm blindly going to bet it, like some of the systems we've talked about. But clearly, if it's a 66% system on that away dog, it would take a heck of a lot for me to play the other side. That part it does allow me to do. Knock off those teams if I did like the other side.
All right, let's talk about that Jets, 0-2 Jets team there at the Bucks. Tyrod Taylor, in his starting time as a quarterback, wherever he may have played, is pretty sizable as an underdog, almost 68%, Ralph. I saw a trend earlier on X. I apologize, I do not have the exact numbers, but it was something like 21, 12, and 7 against the spread. Are we looking towards teams that are 0-2 like the Jets here on the road at the Bucks?
Well, that's the call you have to make. But one thing I'll say is this. Tyrod Taylor was with this team last year, so it's an entirely different thing to be a quarterback filling in. Now, Aaron Glenn's brought in a new system, but Taylor still is familiar with the receivers and with the O-line. And since Justin Fields has only completed 19 of 33 passes with a 7.4 YPA and only 1 touchdown pass, it really isn't that much of a downgrade because of the way the offense has struggled. So I look at the situation and am I ready to fade Tampa Bay? The week 1 win against Atlanta will hit the doink, or it could have been tied. They go to Houston, again, a close game, 360 to 266 yard edge. The defense has played well. So I am not on the Jets because I do like what the Tampa Bay defense has done. They're only allowing 77 yards per game and 3.3 yards per carry. And the Jets did rush for 182 against Pittsburgh and 100 against Buffalo. So we know the Jets are going to be run heavy, but the Tampa Bay Bucks have proven to be a strong D-line and front 7 here. So it's a pass for me in this game.
All right, look at all you guys joining, new members and or Wager Talk Insiders this morning. As I mentioned, $2.99 to join, wt.buzz/insiders. I think we had almost 70 of you guys, so you guys get a little look behind the Wager Talk, realm, if you will. You guys get specialty videos as well as the Steam Room. We're going to have some more stuff coming up for you guys who join here shortly. All right, let's talk about one more game you like, Ralph, before we get you out of here. John Murray should be here any minute to give us a look behind that counter at the Westgate. Ralph, give me a bet for today that you think our audience needs to be looking at. Maybe a under the radar team. We've heard a lot about Fade the Public. We've got a lot of teams that I think are getting a lot of hype early on. I'm curious to see if there's a team that's nobody's talked about this week.
Well, again, let me preface that this I'm giving you now is nothing that I bet, but I did bet the first half Cleveland Green Bay under either the 21.5 or 20.5. So that is an actual client release. Another game that I was looking at is San Francisco. I was on them last week. And yes, we have Mac Jones in for Brock Purdy. But last week in my write-up, when I had San Francisco at the Saints, I said this Mac Jones situation is going to be much like Baker Mayfield. He was a starting quarterback. He was in a horrible system. He gets out of the system. He has a quarterback guru in Shanahan. You have McCaffrey there. I think this line is way too cheap. Remember, San Francisco lost both games last year to Arizona. A legitimate double revenge, and now they're basically in a win situation. I do like San Francisco to cash today against the Arizona Cardinals.
All right, San Fran. Ralph, that makes me nervous because I did not wait until kickoff. Shocker, while you were talking, I was putting in some teaser bets. Listen, that's really why I'm here, guys. I'm just working behind the scenes, keeping you guys informed. Ralph Michaels at Cal Sports LV. Again, Thursdays with Brian Power and Ross Benjamin on the Blitz. You can catch all of his TNA on the mega show of Bet On It, as well as its own standalone on the YouTube channel. Ralph does a ton of free stuff on his page, wt.buzz/RM. If you guys are into charts, if you guys are into old school Excel sheets like I am, he's got it all ready for you guys. So make sure you guys go give him a follow. We're going to bring in John Murray now, and then we're going to back clean up with Brian Power. John Murray, good morning. Happy Sunday.
You consider making teaser bets on your phone working behind the scenes?
Listen, first of all, it wasn't on my phone. It was on my desktop. Second of all,
working behind the scenes. Okay.
Listen, I'm selfishly doing the show, of course.
You're selfishly doing the show? What does that mean?
I'm kindly filling in for Ariel for the Jewish holiday. And then I'm selflessly and selfishly doing the show so that I can write down all the stuff from John Murray. Last week, John Murray went 7-1 for you guys keeping track at home and saved my Sunday because I went 1-4 in the Westgate Super Contest. Just an abomination of plays. Mm-hmm. I do have one in common with the top 5 picks, by the way, if you guys saw my tweet. Right now, 1-9 first 2 weeks. Top 5 selections at the Westgate Super Contest. Woof.
What is the one you have in common for week 3?
The Saints.
Don't tease us. The Saints. Okay, yeah, I think the Saints is one we saw some sharp money on. Hold on, I'm pulling something up for you here. I'm working behind the scenes. I would say the two that have really gotten sharp money the last 48 hours would be Indianapolis. Indianapolis is all the way out to a 5-point favorite in that game. We had respected money -3 and yesterday -4. And then I heard you on the end of the last segment talking about the 49ers game. We had a pretty respected player take Arizona here yesterday. They bet it at +2.5 even money at San Francisco, betting on the Cardinals to get to 3-0. That does look like a good teaser spot too. Low total, 1.5-point spread right now. I'd say those are the main two. Early in the week, we did see money on New Orleans +7.5, same side Kelly likes. And stop me if you've heard this before. They're betting the Jets again. They always bet the Jets. They took the Jets +6.5. Jets
we just can't quit them. They're like the lovable losers. Why can't we not quit the Jets?
That was such the pseudo wise guy play last Sunday. If you remember, they were at home. Everybody was. They were at home against Buffalo. We took so many bets on the Jets from the quasi sharp crowd. We actually needed Buffalo. I mean, of course, it would have been better for us in the long run if Buffalo had lost because of the money line parlays. But when just looking at the one game on its own, we were better off with Buffalo because we had so many big bets on the Jets.
Let's talk about those money line parlays. I know they have been really rough. Last week you gave Ariel 7 plays and I think 4 of them were sides, and you're like, hey, listen, we just need one of these sides to win outright to crush all the money line parlays. I think you guys got 3 out of the 4 outright, and all 4 covered, if I remember correctly. What are those sides for today?
Well, the side, like a team that we would need to lose, you mean? I mean,
yeah, like probably the survivor, right? Like think from a survivor perspective and or money line teaser perspective.
Right.
Who would you love to see lose?
Number 1 is Green Bay. Number 1 is definitely Green Bay. We'd love to see Cleveland win the game. We'd like to see him cover, but we'd love to see him win. That would knock out the money line parlays, the teasers for people like Kelly and their survivor pools that didn't use Green Bay. I'm sure they'd be happy about it. I'd say that's number 1. The other big one in the morning I touched on already. It's a lot of money on Indianapolis. If Tennessee could win that game outright, that would be very good for us. And in the afternoon, I'd have to say we'd like to see New Orleans win. New Orleans is, and also look at it like we're talking here at 8:30 in the morning in Las Vegas. That game starts at 1:05. There will be a lot more moneyline parlay and teaser action over the course of the next 4.5, 5 hours on Seattle in that game. It's just right now everyone's focused on the 10 a.m. games. So right now what we care about the most is Cleveland and Tennessee.
So 2 weeks ago, as I was walking out of my dad's house, we were listening to you and Ariel on the show, and you said, hey, our biggest need is this total, this Steelers Jets game over. Yeah. And my dad goes, oh, I love the under in that game. So I just, bet the over. What are some of these totals?
You faded your dad?
No. I followed you, and it just so happened to be that he loved the under, which just kind of showed. Don't worry, Chandler. My dad's been all over the Hurricanes this year. He texts me more than you do. He was very impressed last night. I don't know why, but he was.
It's not that much. Total wise, I don't have a ton. They did play under in the Houston game, Houston against Jacksonville. There was a little bit of sharp money on Houston in that game as well, but nothing like what we're talking about from week 1, where we did really need that total. We'll probably be rooting for the late game to go under, and I think that. So we didn't talk about that game. That will probably end up being the biggest money line need of the day. But like
Ravens
right now,
lose to the Lions.
No, I'm sorry, Giants Sunday night.
I'm sorry. Yes.
Right now it's Green Bay, Cleveland. But that game is, hours and hours away. And depending on how the games go this morning and this afternoon, depending on how many parlays and teasers are live to Kansas City tonight, the Giants could very well end up being our biggest need of the day, of the week. Whoa. And we do need the game to go under as well.
Yeah, I like those unders. And Kansas City unders have been really good as of late as well. John Murray, you are such a trooper. I know you're very busy on Sunday, so thank you for hanging out with me. I know I'm not Ariel, but I tried my best. At Vegas Murray on social media. You guys can catch him every single Thursday on the Kelly and Murray Show with me, of course, where I basically torture him for almost an hour. It's wonderful. I highly recommend watching it here on the Wager Talk YouTube channel. John Murray, anything you'd like to promote at the Westgate? I know you guys are doing minus 108 on sides during game day. And then are we still doing minus 105 Sunday night football?
Yeah, minus 108 on all the NFL games, minus 105 Sunday night, Monday night, Thursday night as well. We're also doing we're doing food and beverage specials for Mondays and Thursday nights. Beers are $1, hot dogs are $2, VIP booths are $200, VIP pods are $100 for Mondays and Thursdays. And we do have a good Monday night game this week. We've got a really good Monday night game. Detroit, Baltimore should be a good one tomorrow.
As a former bottle service waitress, I would like to interject there. So the pod, you rent a pod, and that is just a food and beverage minimum. You're not paying for the table itself, right? So each person, essentially, if you get a pod, there's 6 people. You should have done the promo.
You should have done the promo instead of me. You're right. No, you're right. It's a real distinction too. You're not paying $200 to sit there. You've got to spend $200 on food and beverage. I talked to a guy maybe last Thursday or last Monday. He was just sitting in one of the pods. We told him what it cost. And he's like, okay, that's fine. And he just spent $100, him and a buddy. It's really very manageable if you're 2 or 3 people.
And you like to drink $8 margaritas like me. Like it's just,
Oh, hey, you know what? For you now, they're doing $2.99 espresso martinis at the Westgate.
Oh no, that's not for me. That's
Oh,
not
yes,
for me.
it
That's
is.
for
Yes,
CT
it is.
Bets. That's something he would do. I would never
Okay.
drink an espresso martini at the Westgate. I'm already too amped up as it is. I do not need any more caffeine. I would like to get to come there and watch games again in the future. Espresso martinis would basically be my nail in the coffin. They would be my demise. I would be in too much trouble. Security
thanks for
would yell
that.
at me
We
I used to have to
appreciate.
wear a mask there, and I would wear the face shield, and they were like, "That's not allowed."
We appreciate that endorsement that our espresso martini deal would be your demise. Thank you for that. We're probably going to have that quote on the marquee. That's very.
I like
that's
that.
very
I think
good.
it's a great idea,
Yeah.
right along with the John Murray bobbleheads that me and Ray
yeah.
ordered this morning. All right, guys, enough preview of the Kelly and Murray show. We're going to let John Murray get back to work. There is over 3,500 of you guys watching us live here on the Wager Talk YouTube channel, Rumble, Kick, X, Instagram, all of the above. All right, we're going to bring in Brian Power. He's going to answer the rest of your questions. Normally, we go right up until kickoff on Saturday, but we've got until 1 p.m. Eastern time. So we're just going to let it go. As long as you guys are asking questions, we're answering them. Good morning, Brian Power.
Good morning, Kelly Stewart. How are you today?
I'm doing very well, ready to run through a wall on this Sunday morning. I did have a shot of espresso because I have to do In Zone Live with the Prez after this.
I'll be on there.
Yeah, great. I can't wait. So in case you didn't know, somehow I got logged into the producer background of the video settings now. So just be prepared for me to, kick Prez off the screen or hit the mute button or whatever I so feel like.
I have a question. You just ripped the espresso martinis to John Murray, your good friend.
Because they're really bad for me.
Oh.
Do you want to see a monster in think about me on a margarita, think about me on regular coffee, then put them together essentially?
I've been spoken to you in Slack before. I know what that could be like. So yes.
I mean, the first time we met in person was down at the D, and
yes,
Brian Power was cheering against my bet. And anyway,
no, I was not. I think you ripped me anyway for something else. I would never cheer against your bet though. But I was ripped for something, and I'm sure I probably deserved it.
Whatever. All right. Check out all these new insiders joining. I'm so excited. WT.buzz/insider $2.99 to join. You guys get all sorts of extra benefits. We're going to do lots of private events for you, starting with the Steam Room coming up here in about 45 minutes with VR. So you guys check that out. Brian Power, host of the Blitz, you, Ralph Michaels, Ross Benjamin. I'm so glad we decided on this trio. It has been doing so well. You guys have been crushing college football. So if you guys are looking for free college football picks, right over there on the Wager Talk YouTube channel. Also on any Spotify, Apple, anywhere you like to listen to your podcasts, you can catch them there. All right, let's answer Adam's question. Any big favorites we think might lose outright today? Still haven't had anyone lose -3.5. Maybe it's Atlanta. Maybe it's Indy. Hopefully it's Green Bay because I love the Browns. And hopefully for Survivor, it's Seattle. Brian Power, this has been an interesting trend because it has been circulating social media. 12-0 since week 11, 9-0 since week 13 last year. This year, none of these favorites are losing. I was going to ask John Murray because they've been getting crushed on the moneyline parlays, but I didn't want to ruin his morning, so I'm going to ask you.
Okay. If I had to pick one, I would say the favorite that could lose outright would be the Buccaneers. Because they have been living quite the charmed life. I know everyone in the comments section of my videos loves to clap back at me about Baker Mayfield, how tough he is, the grit, the heart, whatever. I look at Baker Mayfield, I see a guy, Kelly, that has the highest number of turnover-worthy throws in the NFL this year. And opposing defensive backs of Tampa Bay this year have proven why they're not wide receivers because they can't catch the balls that Baker Mayfield is throwing directly to them. This is a guy who's had 6 dropped interceptions this year. I mean, and a lot of these are just hitting the guys right in the hands. I can't believe they're not picking him off. So there's 2 underdogs, and I see a lot of people in the chat bringing them up, the Jets and the Titans. I think if you like the Jets or the Titans this week, Kelly, I would sprinkle a little bit on the money line because perhaps I'm overthinking this. Okay. I've overthought things before in the past, but I think if you're betting on either of those teams, you're betting the favorite. You're betting them because you think the favorite is going to regress. They're due to drop one. You don't believe in the favorite. Certainly Tampa Bay could just as easily be 0-2 as they are 2-0. I mean, they've stolen both games out of the fire late with game-winning drives. And with Indianapolis, I think there's a sense, is this team for real? I mean, let's go back 365 days ago, Kelly. At this time, the New Orleans Saints last year were 2-0. Spoiler alert for those who may have missed the end of the 2024 NFL season. They did not do so well the rest of the way. So we shall see with the Colts. I kind of think maybe by default they could be the AFC South winner there. But I think if there's going to be a big upset in the NFL today, it would be my first pick would be the Jets, even with Tyrod, or the Titans would be number 2.
Ooh, all right. Well, in my household, I took the Bills because I'm a giant, you know what, on Thursday night. And I said, listen, I had Denver, I had the Cowboys. Like, I just needed easy. It wasn't easy, but it was much easier than the other 2 weeks. I will take it. Never once was I really afraid the Bills were going to lose that game. Yep. Yes, up a touchdown. Miami was driving to a turnover, whatever. I was terrified of this week. My boyfriend elected to use both bucks, not diversify, use both bucks. I told him, I said, hey, I'm doing End Zone Live with the Prez. Yep. You're going to want to go watch with your Survivor partner at his house because I'm cheering for chaos today. Like, I want week 3, just obliteration bloodbath. I want all the favorites to lose.
And here's the thing with, okay, that's good. There are a lot of ugly dogs. I tweeted right before we went on that, if anyone wants to check out the Power 5 before, I have some ugly dogs. I go over there as well. I talked about both the Titans and the Jets on there. And what's interesting, Kelly, is I think there's a lot of volatility in both of those situations where, again, maybe I'm overthinking things, guys. I think you look at the Titans, you look at the Jets this week, it's either they win outright or they get blown out. I don't think the number, I was talking to someone this morning and we both kind of came to the conclusion, I don't know if the number matters in either of those situations. It's either the dog comes in, pulls the outright upset, or the dog gets blown out of the water because, I can't see Tampa Bay winning another close game. Yeah,
well, that's just what they've been doing, right? Like, so I've been living in Tampa for the last 4 years now. I've been to a ton of Bucs games, and it seems like you're right. Like, either the dog convincingly wins outright. The Denver Broncos game comes to mind from last year. I think there were 7.5-point underdogs right around this time, week 2, week 3, week 4, goes into Tampa and wins outright, convincingly, wire to wire. Or I've been to those Tampa games where it's just last minute touchdown drive. Baker is, I'm not going to call him elite, but Baker has clutch moments, right? And I want to give him credit for that. But most importantly, I like this Bucs defense. I think if they can get Tyrod Taylor to turn the ball over a couple times, they should be in the driver's seat in this game. But it is just one of those very fishy lines, right? Like, as somebody who loves to tease the NFL, why isn't it 7.5? Why is it 6.5?
Yeah, I don't know. And the other thing too, and I heard John Murray point this out in the segment before, everyone was betting the Jets last week. I bet the Jets last week. That was not a good bet.
Me too.
The only thing that was good about that bet, Kelly, it's one of those ones you could give up 10 minutes in because you knew it was dead in the water.
That's fine.
I've always said that I would rather lose a bet. If I'm going to lose a bet, I would just rather know it's dead in the water 10 minutes in than have my heart broken at the end, like I did yesterday in the noon Eastern window with Miami, Ohio. I don't even want to discuss what happened.
Are you kidding me? Did you not watch the end of the Nevada game? Right here on my handy dandy list, Art and I were talking about the Nevada game. I thought, okay, I'll bet the Nevada game. I got +10. It closed 8.5. And guess what? It was going to be fine. They kicked the field goal, onside kick, and I'm like, the app is broken again. Because the app had previously told me earlier that West Virginia had scored a touchdown when they hadn't. So I'm frantically, I'm like, oh, the app's broken. It's 1:00 in the morning. The app's broken. Nope. Scoop and score with 8 seconds left. Listen, I'm tired of having my guts ripped out. I am absolutely with you. I'd rather just lose.
Of course, we would all rather just win, I think is the moral of this story, which I think we need to do. I saw somebody asking about the Bears in the chat. I'm with a lot of people. I think you said this earlier. I'll tease the Bears. I gave that out as I gave Bears and the Broncos actually as a 4 p.m. teaser. I'm going to go with there. You can do that. I think there's only a couple spots where you can do the Bears as a teaser right now. So shop around, but I don't know. I think those will be 2 close games. I know the Bears looked so bad last week, and I know their secondary is not in good shape, but I don't think the Cowboys should be favored on the road.
Yeah, it's a tough game. It was just one of those fishy lines. When it first came out, I saw a lot of people asking about it, and I thought, you know what? This is just not something for me. I did tease Dallas early. I am going to tease Chicago late. I think this is a coin flip game. Look, we'll see. I know Marco likes to talk about divisional sandwiches and trap games and things like that. I will say Dallas has Green Bay on deck.
They'll be interested in that, which which is another reason I think a lot of people like Cleveland, right? Green Bay's off the 2 wins over playoff teams from last year, Detroit and Washington. Now they play a Cleveland team. My wife is downtown right now tailgating, and I'm sure she knows. I'm sure she knows. Yes, I'm a very nice guy, but I'm sure she knows, and I will let everyone else know. Home underdogs of 7 or more the first 9 weeks of this regular season. 18-1-2 against the spread the last 3 seasons.
I need that again.
That's per Bet Labs, by the way. I don't want to.
Home underdogs.
Home underdogs, 7 or more. First 9 weeks of the regular season. The last 3 years are 18-1-2 against the spread. Cleveland Browns, first one to qualify this year.
Okay. Noted. Wrote it down. I'm going to steal that. Yeah, I do like the Browns. Titan CT wants to know what your thoughts are on this Raiders team. Here's kind of what starts to happen, BP, is like we all see, you're right. So Sunday even if you have red zone, you miss half of the games, right? It's impossible to fully watch all of these games outside of just looking at the box score. When there are these standalone Monday night games, like we saw the Chargers Raiders last week, we all saw the Raiders. Right? Geno Smith, I think it was 3 interceptions. And then I was like, I'm going to bed. This is dumb. I have no reason to stay up. I have no action on this game. Mm-hmm. I do like to look at teams that looked really awful the previous week, but I think the Raiders might have looked too awful.
Well, and here's the other issue, Kelly. This is a horrific scheduling spot for the Raiders. You talk about how bad they looked on Monday. Okay, well, it's a short week because they played on Monday. And what do the Commanders do? I know that, they're turning to a backup quarterback, but they haven't played since Thursday. I believe that there's only been a couple instances of this where you have and the Raiders are going east. This is a 1 p.m. start. This is one of the worst scheduling spots of the year that the Raiders are in. Short week, 1 p.m. start time for the West Coast team. I think there's only been 2 instances of this where a West Coast team's playing at 1 p.m. on a short week facing a team with 10 days rest like the Commanders, and there's only been like the 2 instances the last decade. Both of the previous instances did not cover and did not come close to covering. I can maybe look that up before I sign off.
Yeah, definitely look that up, BP, while we're kind of talking about this. That is interesting because I think the old adage of West Coast teams traveling east has kind of subsided, right?
It has a little bit. Yeah.
Right? As we've seen it over the years, like in the 70s, in the 80s, in the 90s, it was a thing. Now teams sometimes stay on the East Coast the whole time. Like I was looking to see if the Rams ended up staying or not, right? Things like that. So this is an interesting rest versus, kind of a short travel week, if you will, for the Raiders. So very good point there.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah. Yeah. Obviously, these teams are not traveling on horse and buggy by any stretch of the imagination, but here it is. Teams with 6 days rest versus 10 days rest. Last 25 years, just 5-11 against the spread. But then if you take the team that's going west, playing at 1 p.m., they're 0-2 ATS. The last 25 years, they've lost. They failed to cover by 19 and 7 points. So this is only the 3rd time that we've had a team like the Raiders in this spot. Short week, 1 p.m., West Coast against a team that's played either off a bye or on Thursday.
All right, Brian Power, we've got about 8 minutes left to answer any questions in the chat. Let me know what you got going on over at WagerTalk.com today. I know I mentioned you guys have the Blitz out from yesterday. So make sure next Thursday you guys catch them live, 1 p.m. Eastern here on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. You're also doing the Power 5, but now the baseball season's wrapping up. What days can people expect the Power 5?
Oh, let's make this announcement formally. Okay, good. You're such a person that can allow that to be made formally. Yeah, so guys, this next upcoming week is going to be the final week of the Power 5 as a daily show because, as Kelly eloquently pointed out, baseball's winding down in those first couple weeks of October. Guess what, guys? There's not 5 games to bet on during the week. There's usually just maybe a standalone football game, a couple playoff games. So what the Power 5 is going to do for the rest of football season, you're going to get a midweek version of the Power 5 focusing on the key line moves in football. And then there's a weekend edition where you'll get 5 plays that just missed my card. So the Power 5 is not going away. It's just going to go to 2 times a week. That is starting next week. This week, we're still doing every day except tomorrow because there's not enough games. Short Major League Baseball slate. So Power 5 will still be going hard. The Blitz is still going hard. I'll be on End Zone Live with you and Prez here coming up. And, of course, what everyone needs to know is I have 2 best bets for Sunday in the NFL, currently posted at my page, wt.buzz/BP. Only went 2-2 overall on Saturday. Kelly, I was very disappointed. Again, it should have been 3-1, but Miami, Ohio, I thought they were the right side. They gagged it late to UNLV. I think Dan Mullen's UNLV is a complete fraud, one of the worst 4-0 teams in recent memory. However, while it was just 2-2 yesterday, we are already a winner on Sunday, Kelly, and that, of course, can only mean one thing, your favorite. Soccer was a winner. I will not dive deep into the Aston Villa-Sunderland match.
Good God, please don't.
For fear that you will beat me, but I said both teams to score, and they did. In fact, Aston Villa hadn't scored all year. What, are they going to go the whole year without scoring a goal? Give me a break.
Oh, boy. All right. Paul wants to know our opinions on Houston-Jacksonville. I was on Jacksonville plus 3.5 last week. You mentioned bad beats. That was a rough one for me.
Same old Jaguars.
Yeah, and here's this Houston 0-2 team going on the road. Fits that system. Ralph Michaels talked about fits what you were speaking about. Kind of break down this game. If you have an opinion here, let us know.
So I want to tease the Texans.
I did.
Okay, and because, again, I kind of have this mental quandary on a lot of games this week, and this is one of them. Before the year, I was high on this Jaguars team. I thought they were going to win the AFC South. And then I see what they do last week, and I'm like, it's the same old Jaguars. That's a game you need to win. If you're going to make that leap to a playoff team, you have to beat Cincinnati when Joe Burrow's lost to injury. And Jake Browning comes in and throws multiple interceptions. You have to win the game. You were winning. What are you doing? Houston is desperate at 0-2, but God, Kelly, they're a tough watch. This offensive line in Houston stinks. It has to be the worst offensive line in the entire National Football League. So my take is, I guess, just tease the Texans. They are in a desperate spot. You know, the 0-2 teams, obviously, I'm sure all of our fine viewers have been hearing about 0-2 teams all week, not just on this show, but, you know, all the other great shows we do on Wager Talk. I think if it's 0-2 straight up versus 1-1, the percent, that's the real sweet spot. And that's what we have here with the Texans being 0-2, Jaguars being 1-1. I think it's like 40-11 against the spread or something like that. So I would tease the Texans is kind of my only play here, but I don't feel great about it. Did not make my card because, again, I thought the Jaguars were going to be better than Houston. I don't think Houston's winning this game.
All right, here's a game from Joe Madden. She wants to talk about the Broncos versus Chargers. I guess that would be my team versus her team, even though I've kind of written this team off since the last Super Bowl. So for the last decade, I haven't really cared. I did, however, put the Broncos helmet up there that is signed because it's better than the K-State one I shoved way up on top because I got the K-State football field behind me, and they're kind of on my shit list. That being said, let's talk about
bring it up.
I did early in the week. I broke VR's rule. I put the Broncos in a couple of teasers early, and now they're +3, and they fall out of that teaser realm.
Yeah.
This is a divisional matchup that, again, Chargers looked really good on Monday night against the Raiders. Broncos lose in heartbreak. Thank God, because I had the Colts +1. Thank God the Broncos lost that game. I was so happy that a bad call went my way. I will take it and run. But teams off good losses, if you will. Was that a good loss? Would you call that a weird loss, a loss?
It was actually deserved because if you looked at the box score, the Colts outgained the Broncos in that game. I mean, I thought Daniel Jones, again, I think we're all waiting to see if he turns into a pumpkin. That was probably the best game Daniel Jones ever played last week. And it was against the Denver defense, Kelly, that, as you know, was number 1 in EPA per play last season. I thought the Broncos defense would take a little step back this year, simply because you can't do any better than number 1, can you guys? But you alluded to throwing the Broncos in a teaser earlier in the week. I have done the same in that game. Very interesting spot here, Kelly, with the Chargers opening the year with 3 straight division games. And they're on a short week too, guys. Remember, there's 4 teams on a short week after the Monday Night Football doubleheader. In case you were wondering, teams to open the season with 3 straight division games, like the Chargers are here today, they have gone just 2-5 straight up, 1-6 ATS in week 3 the last 20 years, failing to cover the spread by 10 points per game. And Bo Nix, I'm assuming you know this as well, Kelly, in a 6-point tease in his career in the regular season, if you just teased every Bo Nix line, you'd be 18-1. The Broncos don't get blown out.
All right.
So I think they've only lost 2 games by double digits since Nix became the starter, and one was the playoffs against the Bills.
Yeah, that would make sense. All right, I will take it, I guess, as a pseudo Broncos fan. Shout out to Ace. He's a new member, just joined Wager Talk Insider. We're going to have some great stuff coming up for you guys over the next couple of weeks. Brian Power's got some great stuff for us, though. So leave us with a banger. Give us a winner, Brian Power, after yesterday's kind of SMU, Nevada, those wonky, ugly losses that you had. Yes, K-State even lost yesterday on a bye. Thank you, Mac. Yeah, it was a tough day for your girl. All right, Brian Power, give me a W. What do I need to be betting here on this beautiful Sunday morning?
Well, I'll call my shot. Let's go something that'll either make me look really smart or really dumb. What do you say? That's why we come on these programs, right? Let's go Jets outright over the Buccaneers. I'm sick of Baker Mayfield. I'm sick of Tampa Bay. I'm sick of them stealing games late. New York Jets to beat Tampa Bay outright. Look, we were all betting them last week against Buffalo. I don't care how many late games Tampa Bay wins. Buffalo's a better team than Tampa Bay.
Wow, almost 5,000 people on whatever platform they're watching on just heard you say that. So I'm going to pray for you.
Hey, let me tell you something. I've already lived through it. I know how this works. You know, I lived through, calling the Indiana Pacers the worst team in NBA Finals history, and everyone in the state of Indiana that ever rooted for the Pacers found me, and it's a very nasty thing.
And you got very famous on TikTok for about 2 weeks, and then you got to redeem yourself because
although it was close. I wouldn't say they got there. It was a little close. I remember walking upstairs, telling my wife, I said, walking upstairs and telling my wife, I said, Tyrese Halliburton just tore his ACL. She goes, what does that mean? I said, it means we say nothing and we just sit back and we say nothing. And we got out of it. But yeah, let's see. Jets. Let's call our shot here. Jets outright over the Buccaneers. This Buccaneers team is so fraudulent. So down 3 wide receivers, possibly 3 offensive linemen.
3 offensive linemen, 2 defensive players.
Baker's not 100% either. Baker's not 100% either. Come on, Tyrod Taylor.
All right, so I'm thinking we're going to do a little 3-team money line parlay. My brain is just kind of like, just for fun. Again, I got all these teasers.
I knew with all these ugly dogs that this conversation, Kelly, was going to lead somewhere irresponsibly, but I like it.
All right, so Jets, Saints, Browns. Are we doing it?
What is the pay? What does that do? Okay.
As a matter of fact, I've got this little app on my phone that I can put it in here at the Hard Rock, and we're going to see what that pays. Hold on, needs my face. Let's look, Brian Power. Let's look. We're going to put this little guy together just for a beautiful plus 275, plus 350, and plus 300. $100 bet pays 66 to 1. Done. Bang. Just put that in. $100. 66 to 1. All right, Brian Power. Let's get rich today.
Let's do it. Well, and guess what? And the good news is, if you want to stick with us here on the Wager Talk YouTube channel, Endzone Live, you could see Kelly and I yell about these games in the 1 p.m. Eastern time hour.
Oh, man. Maybe I will have espresso martini.
There we go.
All right. Shout out to all of you guys that hung out with us here on Sunday morning. Thank you to VR. You guys can check him out on the Steam Room right after this. Thank you to Ralph Michaels for all of his trends and angles. Thank you to John Murray from the Westgate Superbook for his look behind the counter. And thank you to Brian Power, one of my favorite guys at Wager Talk, for making this Sunday morning so incredibly entertaining that now we have a $100 parlay on the 3 ugliest dogs on the board, not named the Titans. Good luck to all of you guys. I hope you have a wonderful Sunday. We'll see you guys back here in just a couple of hours. Yeah, I'll probably pop on in about 2 hours. Endzone Live with Prez and Andy. We're going to sweat out some of your survivor picks because mine made it through, as well as that 66-1 to parlay at least the first